I leave anything on your front lawn, under your porch, on the side of the highway where you can store all that stuff my way. Down here at Jones Big Ass Truck Rental and Car Storage. Now, I know y'all got stuff at your house that you don't need no more, you don't want. You know you ain't gonna use that printer. Why keep it all around your house? Bring it down here to my house. You ain't the Dukes of Hazzard. You know ain't gonna use that ugly yellow luggage. You don't need all this crap. What you gonna do with this? This is not in my yard. I don't care. I'll store this motorcycle in that van for you for $10.99 a month. You got old tires. They charge you $3 for that old tire. You could rent a truck. You could store a car. They don't care. Bring it on down here. You ain't got to put that old tire for $3. I leave anything on your front lawn, under your porch, on the side of the highway where you can store all that stuff my way. Down here at Jones Big Ass Truck Rental and Facility. My friends, I know y'all got stuff at your house that you don't need no more. You don't want. You know you ain't gonna use that printer. Why keep it all around your house? Bring it down here to my house. Put it away. You know ain't gonna use that ugly yellow luggage and store it. And this is a drunk discount sale down here at Jones Big Ass Truck Rental and Car Facility. You got an elephant, I got space. Send me smoke signals. You got weed, and I'll store anything you want. Go ahead and give me a call or find me on them internets at www.jonesbigasstruckrentalstorage.com. That's JONES Big Ass Truck Rentals and Storage.com. This is a bus. You know how big a bus is?
Well, hello everybody. That was awesome.
Did we get someone echoing that?
Yeah, that was my fault. I apologize for that.
Yeah, because that was kind of like the same advert over and over again.
Yeah, sorry. That was my stupid fault. I forgot to mute the YouTube stream.
Oops.
So yeah, we're live again tonight. We actually have a guest with us early tonight.
Yes, we do. Early tonight. We usually don't do guests first right off the bat, but I'm cool with that. He may still be muted.
Yeah, he is. There we go. There we go.
Yep. Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, SecretGameDev? Can we call you something other than SecretGameDev? Shitlord, Piss Baby, what do you prefer?
Oh, I'm a Hitlerkin, so you might go with that one.
Hitlerkin, got it.
You got it.
How soggy are your knees?
Well, it's still young in the night, so they're not very soggy right now, but later.
Okay, and the other token question, ASL as well. Might as well get it over with.
27 male and Australia. Somewhere in Australia, not saying where.
Probably smart.
Yeah, not as sexy as our last guest, but never mind, we'll run with it.
Who's the last? Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Our last guest was Mercedes. So, if your aim is to be as sexy as that, you're going to need to grow some boobs.
It'd be a tough act to follow, really.
Awesome moves, just eat like 9,000 Twinkies.
Yeah, that would work. You would have to hoochie out your cleavage, but that would be okay.
And we're at that level. We're talking, Ben Stiller in Dodgeball with a fat suit on tits.
Yes.
Just mentioning, I've had Twinkies before, and I don't get what the hype is
They're
for them.
shit, aren't
really
they?
like them at all. Yeah, they're terrible.
There is no hype. It's just they are awful.
Yeah. There's actually a video on Jenna Bain's channel of Total Biscuit eating a deep fried Twinkie.
Oh.
For the first time.
Oh, God.
You guys make awful Americans, because Twinkies are amazing. I know you're not American, but Twinkies are fucking amazing, especially if you deep fry them.
But Twinkies are cheap pieces of sweets, and that's why they're good.
Wait, did you just say Jeremy isn't American then?
No, Jeremy's American.
I'm all right with Twinkies. I'm just not a huge fan of them. Because I've got these things that are actually from Argentina. They're Balduco wafer cookies, and they're fucking delicious.
I thought
So by request, I have to say, you just gestured to all of me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I said it. But so here's the thing about Americans that maybe you guys have over where you are, but we've got this thing up here in the Northeast called the Big E, and it's like a giant fair, not really a fair. I don't even know what you would call it, but maybe a fair, a giant fair. And you can get anything fried. You can get fried pickles. You can get fried hamburgers. You can get fried cheeseburgers. You get fried macaroni and cheese. Fried
Well,
Twinkies.
you can get the fried macaroni and cheese at TGI Fridays.
Oh yes, you can, can't you?
Can you get deep fried testicles?
Probably.
Probably somewhere. I know that at I think it was the Iowa State Fair, because they pushed this as a joke on the news during the Iowa caucuses. You could get, honest to God, deep fried butter on a stick with mayonnaise dipping sauce.
That sounds awesome. Let's do
That
it.
sounds amazing. Like I agree. Now the other thing you can get at the Big E is a double cheeseburger in between 2 glazed donuts.
Can you also get a heart attack at this event as well?
Well, that's why you go.
That's implicit, yeah.
If you ever want amazing food, go to the place in Vegas called Heart Attack Grill.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Get like a 4-stack cheeseburger deep fried in lard. If you're over, I think it's 300 pounds, your meal is like half off or free, I think. Yeah,
It's free.
it's free.
What happens if you're 295 and then you turn 300 while you're eating it?
I think they may give you a discount, but I'm not too sure. I don't think I've ever encountered that. As a matter of fact, it's funny. The original mascot fat guy they had for the place died of a fucking
He did
attack.
die.
So we should let our guest talk. I mean, we have him here. He's just watching to us shit post or listening to us shit post. Jerry, this is your interview, so you get to run this one.
So the one thing I wanted to ask initially is, what side of the industry are you on? Are you on indie? Are you on AAA?
I'm in the indie side right now. A lot of the industry in Australia is just purely indie. We have kind of like maybe 1 or 2 AAA companies, but pretty much everyone's just kind of going at it from a small business or even an individual perspective. I've worked primarily in the small business area.
And how has Gamergate affected your the particular place you work for?
So I don't think it's really affected where I work for. But because generally we kind of try to be pretty apolitical, and hence also kind of why I'm secretive. It's because I think there are a few people in the company who are kind of pro Gamergate, but they don't want to say anything because the industry currently is very hostile towards that. And yeah, it's not very good. Like I originally didn't really want to get into Gamergate. I wanted to just kind of just like just watch it and like just have it all kind of slide on and just see what happened and wait till the storm passed. But seeing a lot of the people who I've worked with or who I admire coming out and being frankly horrendous just really pushed me into it, and I decided, okay, I'm going to get in on this, and I'm going to just try to offer help with seeing it from a development perspective.
So back to you're in the indie scene. Is the games you've developed, are they games most people would have played? I guess, are you coming from one of the bigger indie studios, or are you still a little small and creating a name for yourself?
Still extremely small in creating a name for myself. I think if you have children, they're more likely to have played the games that I've made, because I've worked on a lot of educational and children's games. But as far as games for like the widespread like kind of consumer gamer market, I don't think I've created maybe 2 or 3 projects that the gamers would pick up, but none of them have done too well so far.
Fair enough. Oh, it's a hard scene to break into, right? I mean, especially when you've got the Cabal who gets to act as the gatekeeper.
Yeah. It's one of the main problems with game dev, and especially on the indie side, is it's extremely competitive. So you've got graduates coming out. I was kind of talking to Roguestar about this a few nights ago, but you've got graduates coming out of the colleges, and they're coming out and they're fantastic, and it's just like competition from every possible area. Because everyone wants to be a game developer, right? Like everyone's thought about it. And so yeah, like especially in Australia, we've got more people coming out of the colleges and the universities than we actually have positions in the industry as a total each year. That is. So basically, each year we could hypothetically add another industry on top of our industry, but it doesn't work like that.
So, I know here in America, game devs are paid shit and treated like shit, right? Because like you said, everybody coming out of college, every 18-year-old kid wants to write a game, you know what I mean? And if they have any sort of code chops, you can replace that lead developer making 140 grand a year with a guy with a master's out of college making 50 grand a year. You know what I mean? Is it like that in Australia? Yeah. Are you guys paid shit, treated like shit, overworked, et cetera, et cetera?
I think, yeah, generally the pay is awful if you get any at all. There's a lot of unpaid interning, which is a pretty big problem for our industry. Because no one's... Yeah, because there are very few companies actually like making money. And when you look at it, like we used to have a big problem with those kind of really exploitative working conditions, but since the AAA scene kind of died down a little bit in Melbourne and Canberra, the amount of like those studios have kind of, a lot of them have closed. Like if you've heard of Team Bondi, the guys who made Elden Ring.
Yeah, I remember Team Bondi. That was a huge scandal.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
What happened to them?
Well, basically, they, I think they spent about 10 or 11 years, or maybe not that many, but they spent some huge amount of time, maybe 9 years, creating LA Noire. They got deep into debt, and then once the game released, I think they just closed up shop, and that was it. But I knew a few guys who worked on that, and they were treated like shit. But it seems to be dying down a lot. But I know some indie studios in the country who I have heard do treat people very poorly. So it's a universal thing. So yeah, it's pretty much the same as America. Like everyone's dream to work in the games industry, but when you kind of get in, you kind of go, oh, okay, this is how it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen much of? I mean, obviously you're Australian, so I don't know if you have any contact with like any of the indie award sort of ceremony things, like the IGF or bodies. Sorry. But as an indie dev, if you were putting a game forward for that, and from what you've seen out of Gamergate, how do you feel about your sort of chances, or would you even bother sort of registering a game, with such an event?
I think my hopes of potentially winning something like that they haven't been completely dashed, but it is looking like there is a lot of potential nepotism and cronyism there, and of course the Maddie Bryce tweets got me into quite into not really a rage. I don't get too angry, but they upset me basically. Yeah, I'd still probably submit purely because you can get just some exposure out of them. I think especially Ludum Dare or Ludum Dare or however you pronounce it. They have all the games up on their site, and they have people just playing them, so you can kind of just get people to just play a game that you've made in that game jam setting. You might get some good press or something from there. But the IGF, I don't think it's feasible for indies to go into it thinking that they're going to win, unless they're kind of. Don't want to say unless they're kind of. Yeah, it feels that way. I'm really not sure. I'd have to look a bit more because. Who knows what kinds of things we're going to keep turning up on the IGF, right?
I believe it was IGF, or it may have been IndieK, one of those two. Edmund McMillan of Team Meat was talking about this a few years ago, about how when he was making Super Meat Boy, they essentially came up to them, and I think it was one of those kind of awards shows with money, like prize money, and people came up to him and essentially said, "Yeah, you're not." Phil Fish came up to him and said, "Yeah, you're not going to win anything because your game's too good, and you're going to do okay anyway." Which is kind of completely counterproductive. I kind of thought that was the point.
Yeah, there's. Oh, it just seems weird, especially with Phil Fish. Like, like that guy. Like, has he remade his Twitter account or something? Like, I hope not.
Yeah, he
I don't
did
really
a
want
while
to hear
ago.
anything from him ever. Yeah, like no, absolutely. It's the way these things run. Like, what I think we've got is, and this is something that's affecting, I think the entire indie scene is we've got indies and we're in this situation where it was okay for them to kind of slide by and just like, be really relaxed and also be kind of dicks and also, be very opinionated, very political, and to, kind of have this really cliquish kind of group, right? But now that it's out in the open, that now that Minecraft made how much money? Like, it's one of the best-selling games of all time, whatever. Now that they're indie, they're starting to penetrate into this money, and people are starting to pay attention to them. They really need to clean up their act, it's ridiculous.
I definitely agree with you.
So have you seen any kind of, comparative to the American indie scene, have you seen any kind of social justice kind of push in the Australian indie scene?
Definitely, yeah. I would say it's well, yeah, like, so we regularly have this conference called GCAP, and it's usually held in Melbourne, and when that goes on, like, you have the keynotes, right? And over the last few years, the keynotes have been, a couple of them have been kind of social justice-y. Some of them have been good. Like, there have been a couple of speakers who have approached it in a really mature manner, and I think. But then when you actually join the IGDA groups, which is the International Game Developers International Game Developer Association. Yeah, and I think we've had some beef with them before because of Ernest W. Adams, who was one of the founders, and he said some horrible things. When you join those groups, they're Facebook groups, and even if you've just got passing interest in game development, you can actually go and you can join these groups. And what I've been seeing there is that over the past few years, there have been a lot of instances of conversations coming up. For example, the first Tropes versus Women video, when Anita made her Kickstarter, all of that. And what happened is you see a lot of developers bullying other developers over the over those topics, and then kind of referring, saying they're a disgrace and kind of saying, they're an embarrassment to the industry. And what's happening is gradually they're kind of, well, one, they're making these groups extremely hostile. Like, so many people are leaving these IGDA groups, it seems, because they just feel it's a hostile group to be in. But two, it's pushing, this fact where, it's basically saying if you're not following our political ideology, you're not welcome in the game developer groups, and it's a big problem.
So, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jerry.
I was about to say, so in effect, the IGDA is kind of the gatekeepers of the international indie scene.
I would say, not so much. I think they're more kind of facilitators for people to meet up. Like, so they run events where you can turn up and you can have a drink with other developers, or they run, sometimes they try to run some educational seminars or something like that, and they promote a lot of indie or just community news. And so I wouldn't say that they have any real power, but they do run these groups, and that's where a lot of this interfacing happens.
So it's basically the difference between power and influence.
Yes. Well, like, you could hypothetically, like, if say we wanted to go to some city in America. I'm sure in America all the cities have their own respective IGDA groups. But if you went to just some random city and it didn't have an IGDA chapter, you could hypothetically start your own and have the same level of power. Like, from what I know, most of the IGDA reps aren't even paid. So I wouldn't say that IGDA is really an issue, but it just happens to be their Facebook pages that everyone gathers on.
Okay.
Had you heard of, before all this, Diger Australia or Diger at all? Just to go back to, because one of the main sort of guys that we came across was an Australian conference organizer that did Diger functions, basically. Had you heard of Diger at all?
I'd heard of Digra, and I think I do know a couple of the members of Digra in Melbourne, yeah.
Oh, okay. And are they particularly social justice-y, or?
Not hugely from what I gathered from, because I've only had really short conversations with the people I know, but I didn't pick it up from those conversations. But as I said, I try to remain really apolitical when I'm in the industry. So if I talk to anyone in the industry, it's going to be very much like, oh, how is your game going? Or what's going on with this? How's the local university going?
Yeah.
What type of research are they involved with then? I mean, is it along the same sort of lines as? I mean, have you discussed that with them at all, or?
No, I haven't discussed it with them at all. But as a group, from what I've learned more about the group. I've only heard Digra as a kind of I'm with this group Digra kind of thing. But mainly what I've learned about Digra has been through Gamergate, so I guess I can't really add anything there.
No, that's perfectly fine. Just asking.
So you learned of Digra outside of Gamergate?
Yep.
So I don't know how I want to phrase this question. So how has Gamergate changed your view of Digra, or has it, or hasn't it? And then what do you think of all the Digra stuff that's happened around Gamergate? Some people call it a conspiracy. Some people say, yeah, academia is fucked and we already knew that. What's your stance on all that?
As far as changing the way I saw Digra, well, yeah, I always kind of saw it as just some academia thing coming into games, and I never really thought much of it, even though I know that academia usually has a bit of a political bias, and so it hasn't really changed from what I expected. Maybe it just kind of validated what I thought might have been happening. In terms of what's actually come up, I don't think it's like a conspiracy, but I don't think people who are concerned with it are wrong either, right? Because there definitely is political influences within the academia, and academia is often fairly dodgy. I can remember going through how you have to write essays and source them as a uni student. I remember going through university, and in one of my first essays I wrote, I uncovered this fact that every single article was citing, but that had no original source point. So basically, people were just kind of making shit up, and it spread through thousands of articles, from what I could tell, because everything I was reading was citing this fact, right? So there are definite problems with academia not being properly sourced and not being properly researched, and then being used to kind of affect industry. It's nothing new, and it's something that we should try, not as Gamergate, but if people wish to try to rectify it, I am all for that, because there's nothing wrong with making sure that things are more factual.
I would agree. I totally did have a follow-up question, and now I just don't remember what it was. So we'll go back. You had mentioned you were trying to stay out of Gamergate. What was your breaking point? What made you decide, I'm going to make it a non-Twitter, and I'm going to jump in to the fray, and I'm going to get my knees soggy?
Yeah. So what happened was, well, I'd always spoken out against the bullying and the problems I saw within the IGDA groups. You know, and people always, not always, but there have been people who I've worked with or people who I've talked to in the past who have kind of used me as a bit of a touch point and just kind of discussed things with me and just said, hey, like, this is happening on the group, I'm a bit worried about this, like, what's your take on it? And so I decided that, so I've been helping those people, and it was when I saw one of my closest friends actually kind of starting to jump on the gamer hate bandwagon, and I was just like, okay, like, this has gone too far, and I just started kind of making posts just kind of discussing, like, you know, like here's how I see some of the issues, and also, yeah, just trying to, like, make sure that if there was, like, some question about the game development industry, I could hopefully at least make sure it wasn't misinformation that people were trying to act on within the movement. But yeah, it was mainly, I think I'm mainly just fed up with kind of just the bullying and the negativity, and, you know, and indies who think it's okay to, or who think it's good to proclaim their hatred of gamers. Like, Jesus.
So, do you think that there's a genuine kind of fear of you getting blacklisted in the indie community because of this, because of your support?
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually, like, I'm not, like, shaking right now, but I'm not sure if you can tell that my voice is slightly wavering. Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern, because, well, you know, I've been in offices where they were talking about it, and I've seen the results of people speaking out about it on those Facebook pages. And I remember one instance in which a whole office of about 20, 25 people were all talking crap about this one guy who's, I think he's just out of college or something, just out of university maybe, and they're all saying, well, not going to hire him, not going, and it's just like, come on, guys, like, Jesus, like, no matter what this guy's political opinion is with regards to Gamergate or whatever, like, this, you know, you can't blacklist him and possibly, you know, waste, like, the thousands of dollars he spent on his education, all that time. So yeah, it's a definite worry.
Yeah. So from I gather from that, there is a definite push to get the like-minded within the industry and kind of at least start to create a sort of echo chamber.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So for you is, and I like to ask this question just because everybody's got a different answer. So our mantra is Gamergate is about journalistic ethics, and it is mostly, right? But there are some people, like probably a few of us on this stream, who also have a severe distaste for the current brand of feminism / social justice warriors. So for you, is Gamergate wholly about ethics and journalism, or is it also partly other things, like social justice warriors, like Saginese? Not that anybody would ever admit it, but I'll ask anyways.
Yeah, for me it's, yeah, no, I totally agree with the question, because I don't think for me it's about journalistic ethics that much. Like it definitely is, because the way journalists report on my game, for example, affects me. The way they interface with my customers affects me. But I would say I'm mainly in it for the game industry ethics. You know, like the not bullying within the games industry. You know, the not blacklisting people. The yeah, that I think that's what I'm mainly going for. And I think I don't really try to get into gender stuff at the moment, just mainly because I think it's difficult to address, because, you know, for every feminist you have who is a very militant, kind of very offensive, or however you want to describe them, person, there are probably a bunch that aren't. Yeah, it's kind of like I feel conflicted with talking about feminism as a negative when the same thing kind of happens to Gamergate, even though I wouldn't say that anyone who's been doing harassment is part of Gamergate, really. I don't think
I
I've seen any
think
evidence.
the important distinction to make is that there's a huge difference between equality and equity feminism and third wave feminism. Like everyone,
Yeah,
you know, it's like going, like the kind of argument tactic with a lot of these people is a bit like when someone comes up to you and says, do you believe you shouldn't lie, steal, rape, and murder? And you go, well, yeah, and they go, well, you're a Christian then. It's like the same kind of logic, you know, like because it's their own brand within a brand that you don't realise until you've already said you're a feminist, and then it's like, oh shit, it's all this intersection stuff. Oh, okay.
It's like the comparison of the three men. One's a philanderer and has sex with a lot of women. The other one's a drunk, and the other one's an average white male Christian. The average white male Christian's Hitler, and the other two are Winston Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Yeah. So I guess my response to that is absolutely. Like and I think from what I've seen,
is
I think your mic might be screwing up a little bit.
That's not
sorry?
pigeon. That's
Don't mean me.
I thought it was you. Oop, I muted him again. I was testing to see if it was pigeon or not.
keep him muted a second.
There we go.
I have to control delete to get on for Advanced Warfare. Alright? Makes me sad.
Okay, Secret, I think your mic issue got fixed there.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
good. It's just we're getting some weird feedback loop or something
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, absolutely. There seems to be a problem with the current feminism and the current way they argue and the way they discuss that I think is very detrimental to equality as a whole. Like with just like the current wave or however it seems, but it just seems. Yeah, there are some huge inconsistencies. Like, for example, like what were you saying? You're saying, do you think that people shouldn't be murdered? Do you think that people shouldn't be blah blah? And okay, you're a Christian then. Well, do you have 2 ears? Do you have a nose? Okay, you're a cat. It doesn't make you like the thing that defines a feminist or the thing that defines someone in a group is.
Oh, I know what that sound is because you're getting it again. It's your phone. It's interfering with your mic.
Oh, good catch.
Because my phone.
Say that as well, because it's his phone vibrated just before.
How's that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. It's just your phone
okay.
interfering with your mic.
Ah, cool. Yeah, but it's kind of like the way you discern people in a group is not by pointing to individual features. It's by trying to define what the essence of that group is. And so for a nebulous group like Gamergate or feminism, that's really difficult to do. But it's a difficult conversation. I think it's a conversation that every single group from now until eternity will have. Like, who is the real? Like, what is a feminist? What is a Gamergate supporter?
It's a good point. The one thing, and this isn't a question, I guess I'm just going to make a statement. The one thing that's bugged me about all of this, the whole Gamergate thing, is the desire for everybody who supports Gamergate to come out ahead of time and say, I denounce harassment, I denounce doxing, I denounce rape threats. Like everybody wants you to say that. Everybody feels the need when they mention Gamergate to prefix all of that with, but I'm against harassment. And I don't know about you, but when I go meet somebody for the first time, I do not tell them, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm against raping. I'm not going to harass you because I know it's... You know what I mean? Like, It just seems like it's common sense.
Yeah.
To me, it's common sense. Those are bad things. I think we can all agree,
I mean, Pigeon might peg you, but we don't know about that.
Right.
And Jeremy might actually have, eat your cock.
Well, he might. He not
That's
might.
pretty much
He
a
will.
guarantee at this point.
No, it's ridiculous. But the thing is, like that, again, that's something that you see. Like, it's so strange, like looking at Gamergate within reference to other movements, right? Because when you look at like Ferguson, like they had those looters and the rioters, right? And it's kind of like, okay, like should should we abandon Ferguson because it was a poisoned well? Should we make them denounce looting? And it's often just a distraction tactic, I think.
I would agree. So then, I guess maybe following this up, but maybe not. This was actually my follow-up question I was going to ask before. So you're in America, and I'm not going to call them feminists because we've already decided that's kind of a nebulous term. But these social justice advocates are starting to get some play in the mass media, right? Especially thanks to Gamergate. You know what I mean? They're in the Washington Post. They're on ABC. They're on.
It happens everywhere. I was noticing the other day. There's this really silly, like this is kind of a side point, but a good example of it is there's this really stupid kind of D-list celebrity called Dapper Laughs in the UK, and he was like one of those Vine stars who made really kind of like, you know, run-of-the-mill funny 6-second videos, and then people took him. Then he like blew up, and he had a show called Dapper Laughs on the pool. And the entire point of the show, to me, was to be as cringeworthy and overly laddie, if you get what I mean, as possible. Like, it was supposed to come across as the most kind of average bloke kind of humour kind of thing. And they recently got it cancelled. Well, I say they. It recently got cancelled because people were saying that he was misogynistic, that he was endorsing rape culture, and all of this, whereas most people kind of watch it and they go, well, this is just kind of brain dead TV, and then they turn it off. But for some reason, these people do often have quite a pull, and I kind of feel like it's because people feel afraid to speak out against them, because then they'll go, why do you hate women? You know, like that's almost kind of their next logical step. It's like, oh no, it's nothing to do with feminism. You know, feminism. Aren't you for feminism? I got into an argument over Facebook about this earlier. Like, some girl was like, aren't you for feminism, Luke? Like, because this show's incredibly misogynist, and if you endorse this still being aired, then you're purporting rape culture. And I was like, you can't browbeat me, you know. But unfortunately, a lot of people are. They're very scared of that. They're scared of getting these labels. So people are very. It's very easy for them to fold if on the surface of it, it's someone disagrees with feminism. People won't look into it further and go, oh, a certain branch of it. Okay, it's never that. It's someone's just going to read someone disagrees with feminism, and then they go, okay, so what? They just don't like women.
Another bit of news that I just saw fly up in the chat. Literally Woo is going back on NPR once again.
Of course.
So what now?
Yeah,
I'm
just say.
still getting harassed.
So I guess and Luke brings up a good point, and that proves to me that it's expanded outside of America and it's now in Great Britain. Has this kind of push happened in Australia yet? And actually, before you even answer that, I do want to follow up on what Luke said, because this is the argument I use all the time when they say we cannot take Gamergate seriously because of its origin. My response is always, then I guess we have to ignore Australia, right? Because Australian origins aren't exactly...
No, exactly. The most pristine, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
Well, I mean, we
ignore Australia.
with that logic, we also must ignore the entire U.S. state of Georgia too.
well, yeah, I mean, or the U.S. because we were shitlords who.
Well, specifically because Georgia was a prison colony.
That's true.
Can we just ignore France? Can we just ignore France?
We can definitely ignore France.
Oh, the U.S. has been ignored in France since the 40s.
You owe France for your entire existence. You should ring them up and say sorry.
But yeah, I just wanted to say we need to ignore Australia because of their origins. But anyways, has this social justice push been a prominent thing in Australia? Is it starting to happen? Do you think it's not going to happen?
In terms of cancelling like TV shows and stuff like that, I don't think we have anything of value to cancel. It's just like, yeah. I can't think of specific examples within Australia. I know, obviously, the right wing gets called very misogynist. But that said, the guy currently representing them has said some very questionable things. I don't think. I think that the attitudes are definitely forming. Like, I know that a lot of the people I have on Facebook, a lot of the people who I used to go to school with, are kind of starting to approach this kind of mentality. I don't think it's happened quite yet. It's still probably building up.
Have you still got the redhead prime minister?
No, she got
No, they've got Tony Abbott now, don't they?
yeah, Tony Abbott, yeah.
I mean, if it was hot, I would totally bang your prime minister.
Well, hey, I
Not
mean,
this one, trust me.
well, I mean, if you're related to Tony Abbott, you can get into university free. So
Yeah, basically.
That's not the
so-
same appeal.
What's this I hear? Somebody said in chat, Australian foreign minister just came out saying, I am not a feminist.
this from Hate from Hell.
Oh,
who is Australian, yeah.
Yeah, that happened, and she did get the bandwagon, kind of saying like, it's so weird when they kind of say that thing like, we own you, like, yeah, we gave you your freedoms, and therefore you should associate with us. And it's like, no, like, people should have the freedom to associate or dissociate how they want, but that's not really how these people work.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
How do you feel about the new thing that's happened with Twitter? The what is it? The WNA?
No, Wham.
Wham.
Yeah,
The
Wham.
Wake me up before you ban me.
Yeah. Oh God, I've never thought about it that way. Jesus. Fuck.
Jesus, where have you been, Jeremy? Fuck's
I
sake.
didn't listen to much of Wham or George Michael for that matter.
Well, you've got a picture of George Michael's cock in your greatest cock collection, haven't you?
Nah, he's average. He doesn't make the Wall of Fame.
Oh.
So yeah, what's your thoughts on Wham now being our Twitter overladies?
Oh,
Overladies, is that like over? With,
yeah.
It sounds like ovary, and it's not a man. If I call them overlord, you know they're going to tell me a sexist for assuming they're men, so
Oh, you definitely are sexist, anyway.
I am.
Yeah, I think streamlining any sort of banning or punishment thing, like process with from people with actually I don't really know much about Wham, so I don't know what kind of political, like, are they political? Like, I don't know, but if
Yeah,
I don't,
They
there's
are.
a video to watch, and it will make you scream.
They are pretty much political, and it seems like it's almost exclusively for women's harassment. There's they get a fast lane while everybody else has to have the 24-hour wait period.
yeah, I think look, the way I look at it, because I'm left wing and I'm pretty damn left wing at that, I would say. The way I look at it is, look, with any group, like Wham or whatever, imagine that it was actually a right-wing group, or imagine it was like this ultra-conservative, like kind of group, or if you're ultra-conservative, just like imagine that it was like just someone who opposes you. Like, if it's someone that opposes you and they've got this power over a medium that you enjoy, it's always a bad thing. And so it's kind of like, I don't think any political idea should be given more power on Twitter, for example.
I think that's the problem. I think people forget that feminism is an ideology, same as, Nazism, same as, fucking communism, say any of the isms, and it could be potentially, bad. Just because it has, some core beliefs and that sound palatable, there might, I just have a big problem with ideologies.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like it's something I was exposed to while I was a feminist, because I was for a very long time. But was this when they kind of mock free speech, like they say like, oh, they kind of put on like this whiny tone and say, oh, the men are concerned about free speech or whatever, when they do that. Like, when you think about free speech, right, it's important because, if you get rid of free speech, so what I always say is okay, do you think that the people in power right now are generally good? And usually these people are like, no, like they're rich white businessmen, so they're in power, but they're not good. And I'm like, well, why would you give them the ability? Like, why would you try to take away free speech? Because they're immediately going to use that to dunk on you, and to ruin you. Like, why on earth are you fighting against that? It's weird.
It is weird, and what's weird about it is that right to free speech allows them to say some of the most asinine things they say, like Gamergate is worse than ISIS. You know what I mean? Like,
well, here's the thing: they forget the key fundamental principle of American free speech, and that's you have the right to say whatever you want to say. But there's also, they don't want the backlash that comes with that. Free speech is not freedom from consequences.
At least here in America.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how it works in other countries.
Well, I think they should also look at the definition of hate speech, though, because quite a lot of the stuff that they actually say is just hate at the moment. It is just pure.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Hate speech is even covered under free speech in America. In fact, the ACLU has a whole page listed on, or a whole page on their website about how and why they protect hate speech. So long as your hate speech is not calling for action and not eliciting violence, the ACLU will actually protect your right to say it. They will protect the KKK's right to spew their hate speech.
Yes.
I find that quite interesting.
The
juxtaposition, really,
well,
because
that's the thing. That was actually like brought down through the Supreme Court and through judicial decision and review and all that stuff. As long as your speech doesn't call for action, you're good. Or call for violent action specifically. You can say whatever the hell you want.
So since we tend to get sometimes political because we do have at least one political science major on the call, explain Australian politics in a way that explain how they relate, if you know anything about the U.S. political system. How is the Australian right and the Australian left different or the same from the U.S. right and the U.S. left?
I think this is going to show maybe I'm not so great at politics, but I think so you've got the right, that's the Liberal government. So here's what we've got. Okay, so we got three main governments sort of, but the big two are much bigger than the other one. But we've got the Liberals, the Labours, and the Greens. And the Greens are like the left wing, and they're very left, and that's and they're environmental, and they're actually really cool because they're about digital rights and stuff. So there's a lot of pressure over here from like the Rupert Murdoch kind of empire to kind of try to stop piracy, and the Greens are usually looking at trying to make sure that everyone's rights are still being protected. You've got Labour, and they're actually slightly more left than the Liberals, who are pretty fairly right wing. And so it's really weird that we've got like our Liberals are actually right wing. But it's fucked. But
wait, your Liberals are right wing. So like here in America, the liberal left would be the social justice. They would be.
No, those are the extreme liberal left.
Well, yes, the extreme liberal left. But your left would be an Obama, and your right would be a George Bush, right? You're saying in Australia that's reversed.
No. So we've got liberal politics, but the Liberal Party of Australia, like that political group, are actually right wing.
That's okay. I'm confused. I'm not confused. I get what you're saying, but it's just different from what I'm used to. So I'm trying to
it's really funny when we talk about politics over here, because if you say like I'm a Liberal voter, people like don't know what to think. And then you've got Labour, and they're more left wing, but
they're more centre left, yeah.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. But they've still got like the problem with Australian politics, and I think this is something that gets raised about American politics as well, is that we've got two parties that are like the Liberal and the Labour parties are they're very similar. Like they disagree on a bunch of things, but at their core they have some similar sort of ideas. It's kind of weird.
Versus ours, which are just kind of completely opposed to each other.
Yeah, I don't know. If read some people in America writing blogs or whatever. I don't know. Like maybe there is politically dyslexic as I am, but I've read that over there, with some of the issues, you guys don't have a third option. Like with some of the issues, Obama's going to do the same thing as whoever's running the Conservative Party. Maybe I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, because Obama's the Democrat Party, which is the more left party of the U.S. And our left party the Democrat Party, which is our liberal party, tends to co-opt a lot of the more extreme views. That's why you've seen them do things like that's where the social justice warrior co-ops into that, because our left encompasses every bit of the left, while our right encompasses every bit of the right.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, actually, American politics are not. They're actually far different if you look at an issue by issue basis. I don't know if there's much common ground between the left and the right. It's like they're both on the extreme. That's what I mean.
That shit crazy ends of the spectrum a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I will prefix that by saying that's when they're running for office. When they actually get in office, both sides tend to even out and come more center, because now you have hundreds of people you have to work with to get your bills passed and whatnot, right? So you've gotta come center. But when you're running for office, usually the left is vastly different from the right, because they've got to pander to their audience.
Right, and if you actually kind of monitor how the party's attitudes are, as it comes close, like in primary time, in primary elections for the people that are going to run for president, if you watch them, they'll have very, very kind of extreme right views. And as they come closer to presidential election time, everything will start slowly drifting toward the middle.
Ooh, I know a good word for that or something. It's called like couch and kennel syndrome. So if you imagine like a dog and it wants to be on your couch, and the couch is where it wants to be, and so when you're away from home, like it rolls on your couch and it like messes up and it tears the pillows off. But then, as soon as you get home, as soon as it hears you creeping up on the front steps or whatever, it runs out and sits in the kennel where it knows it can't get in trouble, right?
Absolutely.
That's kind of, yeah, it's kind of like what I see a lot of people do. Like, you know, like they'll say like, oh, you know, like I think this. But then when you kind of go, hold on, wait, do you actually think that Gamergate like should be like what was that guy saying today? Like should be part of some Holocaust? Like if you act like he didn't back down.
Jordy Tate.
Yeah, he didn't back down, but most people will go, oh no, but I think what they're doing is not very nice, and you're just like, okay, rightio. But there was someone in the comments on YouTube who did actually describe the main problem with Australian politics, and it was he said, I can't find it, but yeah, the main criticism is that it stopped being about kind of the politics, and now it's just about them trying to press the hot key issues, and they also try to just like slander each other a lot. They bicker more than they actually do, you know. So yeah, we got a really shitty government.
Yeah, that was hate from hell. The main criticism of Labour and Liberal has been that it stopped being about ideology and is all about hotkey issues to win votes.
And
same
that is
thing in America.
It's the exact same thing in the United States. Gay marriage, abortion, whatever you want to talk about, gun control. You know, it's about pushing the hotkey issues to get the middle.
With America, it seems like the big issue is that I just don't see it ever really working that one particular side can be able to represent all 50 of the states.
Well, it's not. If you actually look how our elections play out, it's all a numbers game because electoral college.
Yeah, and no, it won't ever. Well, I think you would find most Americans are probably pretty center.
Center right, believe it or not. Actually.
Yeah, but the problem is, at least in America, is both sides shout over each other, right? So to the left, it may be gay rights is wholly important right now, right, for the left. And I'm not saying it is, but let's just assume it is. And to the right, it's abortion. They just shout over each other. My issue's more important than yours. And they argue about... They appear to be arguing about the same thing, but they're actually arguing about two different issues, and it makes it really hard to grasp what the hell's going on. It's like with Gamergate, right? We're arguing about ethics, and they're arguing about harassment. And if somebody were to just stop both sides and go, I think you both probably agree, you know, you can make progress, but nobody wants to stop both sides and make progress.
Well, here's the thing. It's... With American politics, and this may be true of Gamergate, I don't know. I'm not claiming to be the leader or anything.
Oh, Jerry for secret leader of Gamergate.
Yeah, I am. I'm also working for the Illuminati, but in United States politics, at least at this moment, and it's kind of been this way since Reagan has been in office, it's about whose morals are the right morals. And that's the key thing. It's whose morals do you want enforced in the government, and both parties will shout at each other saying, my morals are better than your morals because of X or Y. And it's that moral pandering that gets votes.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that's exactly the thing like that I find. Like, if we take it back to Gamergate, the thing is, our opponents are really great at converting moderates to our side, which is awesome. But what you find is that like a lot of these moderates, like they're being pushed away from this kind of social justice mindset, and they're being bullied purely because they don't want to go as far as the other people. Like, so if I was to say like, so if someone on Australian TV said something really questionable, like something possibly racist, and I said, well, let's write to the TV studio, but other people wanted to go further. They consider the fact that I want to stop at some moderate point to be misogyny or to be racism or whatever. And yeah, it's just so weird because it is very much like my morals are better than your morals, and so by not following my morals, you are being immoral. Yeah.
Well, and that's precisely kind of what's happening with Gamergate, right? Especially on the Kotaku in Action subreddit, I see at least a single post a day, if not more, of people saying, hey, look, I was pretty neutral on this, right? I understand where both sides are coming from, but I kind of feel myself being pushed to pro Gamergate because the other side keeps telling me I'm not anti enough, basically, is the gist of all those messages, right? Like, they shit on me because I am not calling you guys shitlords and Hitler.
Yeah.
So I'm not I'm not moral enough, I guess, right? They're the moral police.
And
what I'm trying to say.
This actually gives me a good segue into something I wanted to read tonight. And I can't remember on Twitter who gave me this idea, but I found this stuff that I just want to read out. And it's fascinating if you think about it in terms of the other side. It's some warning signs. Absolute authoritarian. This is the first paragraph. It's absolute authoritarianism without meaningful accountability, no tolerance for questions or critical inquiry, no meaningful financial disclosure regarding budget expenses such as an independently audited financial statement, unreasonable fear about the outside world such as impending catastrophe, evil conspiracies, and persecutions. There's no legitimate reason to leave. Former followers are always wrong in leaving, negative, or even evil. Former members often relate the same stories of abuse and reflect a similar pattern of grievances. There are records, books, news articles, or television programs that document the abuses of the group/leader. Followers feel they can never be good enough. The group or leader is always right. The group or leader is the exclusive means of knowing truth or receiving validation. No other process of discovery is really acceptable or credible. And this is the second one, which is more warning signs about someone being involved, about an individual being involved with it. Extreme obsessiveness regarding the group or leader resulting in the exclusion of almost every practical consideration. Individual identity, the group leader, and or God as distinct and separate categories of existence become increasingly blurred. Instead, the follower's mind, these identities become substantially and increasingly fused as that person's involvement with the group or leader continues and deepens. Whether the group or leader is criticized, is questioned, it is characterized as persecution. Uncharacteristically stilted and seemingly programmed conversation and mannerisms, cloning of the group/leader in personal behavior, dependency on the group or leader for problem-solving solutions and definitions without meaningful reflective thought, a seeming inability to think independently or analyze situations without the group or leader involvement. Hyperactivity centered on the group/leader agenda, which seems to supersede any personal goals or individual interests. A dramatic loss of spontaneity and or sense of humor. Increasing isolation from family and old friends unless they demonstrate an interest in the group or leader. Anything the group or leader does can be justified no matter how harsh or harmful. Former followers are at best considered negative or worse than evil under bad influences. They cannot be trusted and personal contact is avoided.
There was actually a thing I read recently actually that was like signs that you're in a cult, and it sounded just like that list.
That is exactly that. This is from the Cult Education Institute at the Trenton University.
That's quite interesting because I've also seen a few of those attributes on our side as well.
Well, it's like horseshoe theory. It's like the problem is with the entire movement is that both sides seem so polarized a lot of the time, because with the antis, they're very good at persecuting the GG side, so the response is to go the complete other way, and it kind of ties into horseshoe theory. That doesn't matter how far you know, it doesn't matter what side you're on. Once you hit kind of like the extreme of either side, they're pretty much indistinguishable from each other.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
I think both sides' extremes are a bit like that.
Yeah.
I would agree. So, bringing it back to Secret Game Dev, Jerry, we're going to get back to that.
That's fine.
Only because I want to also have you show the part of that fire.org, the fire.org video later. So, more questions for Secret Game Dev. A little bit off of Gamergate. First off, I have to ask, Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Coke or heroin?
Ooh. Pepsi.
That wasn't an option.
Brilliant.
Go with Coke.
Good man. So what games are you playing?
Oh, I don't actually know because I've been actually trying to work on getting some released, which means that you have a bit less time. But I've just been kind of revisiting the backlog a bit. So I've been kind of going through and played some BioShock, played some Bayonetta. Bayonetta was especially because of Gamergate. I was like, yeah, okay, like looks like I'm
you misogynistic shit lord for playing Bayonetta.
I was like, anything to make Arthur G's or Arthur Guys or whatever angry, I'm gonna do it, right? So but I've also I'm waiting for Super Smash Brothers.
I have a question from the chat actually from Patton. Your opinion on the recent ABC Australia video on Gamergate?
Oh, I don't think I've seen it. Was it? No, I haven't seen it. Sadly, was it positive? Was it negative? If it was negative, it sucks.
I can't say that I've seen it.
It was negative.
Yeah.
I'll go a question. How big are the spiders in your house right now?
I don't know.
Do they have health bars?
Sometimes, but I was attacked by a freaking huge moth yesterday. I don't even know what happened. Like,
Was it Mothra? Was it Mothra?
It might have been. It would explain why Godzilla turned up as well. So
They do travel in pairs.
From Faso Goose, your observations about the Assassin's Creed Unity launch issues.
Oh man, is this about the their inability to seemingly render women? I've seen that. No, I know what you mean. It sucks. Like really. So like I said, when I got into Gamergate, it was because of anti-consumer attitudes from people I'd worked with. And the exact same thing is happening with Ubisoft, like where they're doing, what they say, you can't talk about our bugs for at least a day. Like, fuck that. Like, what the fuck? That's horrible.
I would agree, horrible.
And also, but you can also see why they did it, because from what we can tell now, the thing seems like to be a buggy piece of crap, right? So it's just like, you're not allowed to talk about our games because people aren't gonna.
It's quite amusing now that a game releases usually with a patch straight away to download. If you could remember the old days when shit went out on a cartridge or something like that.
Patch.
There couldn't be, because your game would just tank. How do you? Here was the thing that I thought was actually kind of sleazy. How about the fact that the review copies did not have microtransactions in them?
I can see why, because they probably didn't have the infrastructure, but that said, that should be something that people know before release. Like, this is something I'm kind of so pre-order culture is this big problem with games, and I'm trying to find parallels to any other industry, right? Because we seem to be one of the few industries in which, it's hard to try before you buy, and you have to pre-order things, 6 months in advance to get the day one crappy DLC, right? Or whatever.
I think Kickstarter's making a huge difference to that.
Especially.
I mean, because coming from my side, they kickstarted a game called War Machine Tactics, a computer version of the tabletop game, and there were a lot of sort of content bits, physical and digital content that was released and people had that available obviously before the actual finished product, which is kind of sort of weird. Obviously, they couldn't use it, but, you know. But yeah, there are very few sort of other markets. Like, I mean, films don't release, you know, a bit at a time, or you don't get
it's
some.
like the patches on day one are actually like they're really important these days, and I've had a few games where we've had to do that, and that's purely because you've does Assassin's Creed, do they release one per year or something or something like that? Right?
Yeah.
Like they're running on such a tiny schedule, and so any time that they can use between going gold and between like the full-on launch, they're going to try to get that day one patch done so people aren't as pissed off by the buggy thing that they've got.
So I want to go back to your giant moth comment. I'm sharing my screen. I'm showing a picture of a moth that actually I got attacked by one like that. So when you say you got attacked by a giant moth, I got attacked by a giant moth.
Wait, let's have a look.
That's probably a bit bigger than the one that I got attacked by.
Wait.
Luna moths are fucking gigantic.
What the hell is that?
That's a Luna moth.
That's a Luna moth, and they're
Did that
gorgeous.
come from space?
No.
Possibly.
They are,
If
if you've ever seen one in person, they're gorgeous. For a moth, like they are gorgeous moths.
And it's funnily enough, I think that is the inspiration in Pokemon for Venomoth.
Yes.
Here's another one from the chat. What do you think of review embargoes?
They should never, I don't think, happen. Like, I think, like, here's the thing. Like, in order to have a healthy game market, in order to have a healthy stream of consumers, you need to make sure that people have the information they need to make the purchase. Sure that that your game is good enough to be on the market. Like all of these things are just trying to sneak around the fact that there are some glaring issues with their product. They're trying to trick people into buying it. They're trying to stop the reviewers from exposing it. And what is hopefully eventually happening is I hope people just stop buying Ubisoft games or whatever and start just voting with their wallet and just saying, like, you guys are, like Watch Dogs had problems. This game had problems, and I hope that but what seems to happen a lot though is gaming seems to suffer a lot from consumers that buy things like just because any experience may be better than none or something.
Yeah.
Because
I think that was the case with Battlefield 4, but a lot of the reviews that happened around that centered on the fact that there were going to be, patches that eventually fixed it. But however, it only, I think it was about a month or two ago that the ultimate fixing patch came out, and it still broke the sort of game. So I mean, I know you said about the sort of day one sort of patch as being sort of vital to iron out those bugs that they couldn't have done in time before sort of shipping.
Yeah.
But what about reviewing a game on the premise that it will eventually be fixed, released, but it's released essentially broken, basically? Still playable, but in the most basic sense of the word.
I think that I think that reviewers need to make sure that So here's what I think is one of the crux issues behind Gamergate, and that is that when you look at the business processes surrounding a reviewer, they are a means for the business, for a development company to get word about their product out, for sure, but they also form this kind of impartial shield between the consumer and the developer. And when the journalists give the benefit of the doubt to the developers, like this, they're not fulfilling that role as a barrier, and they're not facilitating that discussion. What was the first? Well, sorry, not the first game to suffer from this, but a big one was also Left 4 Dead. A lot of people bought it based on the fact that they said there is going to be a lot of content updates because of TF2 was really, well, it's still really big, but it was huge around that time. And they were saying, oh, Valve is going to keep updating Left 4 Dead. And so people bought it, but then Left 4 Dead 2 came around, and they're saying, actually, you're going to have to pay, $60 USD or whatever for Left 4 Dead 2. And people, like, promises should not be a positive when it comes to, it's like, you know, it's irresponsible, I think. Like, you know, if they say it's buggy as hell and this is the version we've got, the review should say it's buggy as hell, I think.
Another one from the chat, which is your opinion on early access. Should it be a thing or should it not?
I think that, well, there are some companies that are doing really well at trying to get the information out that they need, while also not making it this stupid, like, you actually have the game but it's not done yet kind of thing. So, for example, Guild Wars and Evolve both have, like, beta access weekends or something, and so it's just one weekend every few months or something, and that's a decent idea because it does help you with server load to see how many servers you need, and that's something that must be tested before launch, because I don't know if you remember the Guild Wars launch or something, or something else, but there weren't enough servers, basically. And so some of that's useful. For indies, like, for people doing... actually, well, Kickstarter doesn't really count as... You're not really playing the game before you pay for it. But yeah, I think early access should be restricted. I think that the fact that Steam has just games that are just early access and they've been that way for 6 months and people are buying them, and then they kind of have this... It's an attempt at a second launch, because your launch event is your big event. It's an attempt to try to keep that, to try to have two of them, but I don't think it's very good, and I think ultimately, like, it may even stop, like, the kind of hype of the release, because Goddess, that was in early access and I played it and I thought it was crap.
Yeah,
and,
no, it's shit.
And then it released, and I don't know if it's good or not, but I'm not going to play it again because I already played it in early access and I thought it wasn't very good.
It felt like Farmville, didn't it? Like, the amount of clicking in that game just... Oh.
I felt really weird because I'm not sure what the goal was, but all I know is
that was the weird thing. I just keep expanding?
I felt like this capitalist god because I was tearing down the pretty rocks and the trees and shit to build these terrible looking buildings. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Oh, it's I have Goddess on my iPad and it's not terrible. For me, the thing that makes it the least enjoyable is the controls are shitty, and it's really hard to grab, like, small edges of land to drag it out.
That's exactly how it is on the PC version, though, and when the game is based around that and you've cocked up that core concept, that kind of says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I agree. If that were fixed, it would probably be a decent time waster. I don't know if it's anything I'd sit behind for very long. So, Secret Game Dev, somebody asked a while ago what your favorite game of all time is.
Ooh,
well,
that's
care if I delineate that question, Cove?
That was just the chat question. Was favorite game?
Because when I hear favorite game, I think of two things. It's what's your favorite game of, what's the first game that pops to your head when you say favorite game, and what is the game that you like that you're playing right now?
No, so what's your favorite? That's why I prefer. That's why I said of all time. What is the best game you have played?
Best game I have played?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Dota, I would say, because that game you can just pile the hours in. Oh, or maybe okay, that one, or Team Fortress 2 back before it had all the ridiculous like
before it became Hat Fortress 2.
Yeah, because I thought Team Fortress 2, because I really like shooters, but I haven't played one in years because Team Fortress 2 basically broke my heart. But yeah, like I thought that Team Fortress 2 was really simplistic and had really good design ideas and stuff, and it was really fun. And then they just kind of added so much that it got really bad. But Dota's got to be the one, right? Because that game.
Oh, my Dota is such a fucking time. I tried to avoid Dota, but instead I caught the League bug.
I think League's alright. I've played a little bit of League. I think that they've got better hero concepts, but I think that they have a worse overall gameplay. Because you just stay in your lane the whole time, right? I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, Dota is very much RTS focused, while League is very much player focused.
So are we talk when we talk Dota though? We're talking like legit defenders of the ancients, right? Like Warcraft 3 mod.
Either of them. I had trouble with I had trouble with Dota 1 because I kept deselecting my character, like, no matter what. Like, that's just something that would happen just all throughout gameplay. I like Dota 2 more, I would say.
See, man, you got to go back to the mod. You got to go.
Another one from Facile Goose. What indie and non-AAA studios and games should we keep an eye out for? Any kind of rising stars for you?
Ooh, I don't know. Non-AAA. I would say. No, I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Okay, actually, I think I've got a few indie games I really enjoy. Whoever made Crypt of the Necrodancer, like, they are going to be, like, that's such a good game.
That game is like arcade fuel right there.
Yeah, but I think that instead of looking at developers for the most part, I just look for who's got ideas. Like, for example, I like really flippant kind of ideas. So there's one that's on Kickstarter. Actually, I think it's finished. But one that I'm looking forward to right now is called Battle Chef Brigade, because it's basically like a fighting game mixed with a cooking game, and I think that's really cool.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Cooking
because
Mama and Street Fighter, totally down for that concept.
Because what you've got to do is you've got to go and kill the meat that you're about to cook, and then you've got to cook it and satisfy judges. And any games that kind of have that sort of like Reseteer is also one, because it's
Reseteer is brilliant. I love playing Reseteer. Kind of personal question for me: have you played Kerbal Space Program?
No.
Oh no, God. That is a game that might really benefit from the early access, because it's still in it. But oh my God, that game is one of the most rage-inducing games. But it's still fun when you get things to work.
Yeah.
So what was your first game?
The first game I ever played?
Yes.
Ooh, it might be. I know that when we got our very first computer, we got two Barbie games, a Wiggles game. Have you guys heard of the Wiggles?
Oh yes, we know the Wiggles. They
and we got a Rugrats game. I'm not sure which one we installed first though. So that's the. I think it might have been the Wiggles.
Oh.
I was hoping it was the Barbies game. I was hoping your very first game was a Barbies game.
To be fair, okay. Here's the funny thing. There was one of the Barbie games. I'll have to find it again. But it actually had it had good gameplay, I think. So it was actually a legit okay game, which doesn't happen anymore. Now you just get these, if it's a Barbie game, it's just it's trying to sell the merchandise, but
Yeah, speaking of that, what's your feelings on games like, what the hell is it called, Skylanders or Disney Infinity? This whole crossover between, you buy a game for $60, you buy, actually it's 80 with the pad, right? For $80, and then you got to go spend $800 to get all these characters to actually play the game.
Yeah, I think that it's a very clever way to conduct business, because it's combining the not the DLC, but the kind of collect the characters kind of aspect that has gotten people to buy so much stuff in League of Legends, for example, with actually selling merchandise that you can price up compared to its cost of development, because video games are extremely cost expensive for compared to what you can sell them as. So for example, GTA might be a game that costed millions and millions of dollars to make, but you can only sell it for 80. So they're kind of doing that integration thing. I think it's really clever. I'm not sure how I feel about it with regards to children, because studies have shown that the advertisements and the collectivist sort of mentality drive materialism and those attitudes in children. But that said, they've been doing the same thing for
Years. Yeah.
because they've had like what could you collect when we were kids? You could collect
Transformers,
well,
Teenage Mutant Ninja
yeah.
Turtles, just because of the TV
Yeah.
shows.
Even my dad had his football cards, right? So it's just taking that to the digital age and it's applying the Pokemon formula and stuff like that. It's interesting, yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, imagine how much money Riot Games would make if they started selling, League of Legends like champion action figures.
Yeah, oh, heaps, so much.
Yeah, I actually am a huge fan of Skylanders. My wife, not so much, because when I get the itch to buy Skylanders, I will drive all over the state to buy them all. And it's why I've avoided Disney Infinity, because that seems to have even more crap.
Oh, well, don't forget now there's Nintendo Amiibo, too.
Oh, God, there's more. I love stuff like that. I got some OCD.
I'm a collector junkie, too. I've got my little portal turrets and a couple of collector's editions of stuff.
Are there any more questions from chat? Because it's getting late your time, right?
No, I'm still gonna be awake for another about 12 hours.
Oh, you meant 12 noon.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's noon.
So do you work in a studio? Like, are there more than just you? Is there more than just you?
Yep, yeah. So we've in the studio they've been working with most recently. There was it was a really flexible working thing. Like we kind of had people as we needed them, and they stopped working and went back to their day jobs when they didn't need to work, and then we'd get people in just to do single tasks, and so we didn't really have a stable roster. But yeah, that's kind of the arrangement it was, and that's kind of how a lot of the studios are kind of functioning these days. Like they just kind of bring people in as they need them, like they have their core group, and then yeah, it's mainly because it's hard to pay people for as long as for their time when you're making very little money.
So then, do you work with do you work with any women, or have you worked with any women?
Yeah, lots.
Were they shat on, like some would have us believe?
No, no, they weren't. I think none of them copped anything that the other people in the team weren't. But there were occasions where, well, often people were pussyfooting around them a lot because they were worried about possibly being, the subject of the next big scandal or whatever. Like not on the scale of Gamergate, but in the general community, like the city's community. They didn't want to say something accidentally, and then or just say something stupid, and then have that be taken out of context to be pushed through all these different circles and find themselves unemployable.
Gotcha. So what gaming, and I'm just moving on to the questions here. What gaming websites do you recommend?
I would say the ones that the Gamergate people are pushing, like Niche Gamer, Games Nosh, Tech Raptor, Good Gamers.
Review Labs.
Sorry?
Review Labs.
He just
Review Labs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So support those, because one of the most important things that we need to do, like it's one thing to try to take down Gawker, Kotaku, Polygon, the game review sites, but it's another thing to actually prop the other ones up in their place, because if we just tear things down, you don't get anywhere, and then but we also need to support the others, because being a reviewer these days it's really hard. Like, as you can kind of see, like there are so many barriers. For example, like if you're a small reviewer right now, you have to go out and actually buy all the games, which on a single person or two people's budget, if it's a hobby, extremely difficult. Similarly, they're not afforded the press that IGN and Kotaku and Polygon are, because they can't get into the early access for these, you know, things like the early review copies. And so it's really important. I'd say also, obviously, if you're not already following Total Biscuit and even Boogie 29, is he 2988 something?
Yeah.
You know, go and follow some YouTubers because they're also working to decentralize the reliance on the current media.
And they're starting to do a good job. So Hate from Hell wants me to ask, what do you think of the Julian Blanc thing?
Julian Blanc?
Apparently he was a pickup artist that got kicked out of Australia the other day.
Oh, that guy. I've heard about it. I haven't really looked into it, but did he choke people? Like, was he choking people? Is that what he was saying to do? Was it consensual?
I really don't know.
Like, okay, like my stance on that kind of thing is, look, I think that kind of the pickup artistry sort of thing is a side effect of what I would consider to be just problems affecting men today. Like, everyone has problems, right? But I don't know, like, men seem to be the victims of more existential crises, maybe. And so people trying to cash in on that to promote dating culture, it's not like their own pickup tips. It's not a solution to the problem, right? So I don't really like it. In terms of his choking, whether it was okay or not, it all depends on whether it's consensual, I guess. Like like you can do what you want if it's consensual.
Yeah.
So this is the burning question we have to ask. How do Australia manage to lose a war against birds? Referencing, of course, the great emu war.
Well, I was gonna say they can fly away from danger, but emus can't. No, I think the problem is with Wait, is this actually a thing? I'm like looking on Wikipedia. What the hell?
The emu war? Yeah, it was an actual war declared by Australia against the emus.
And it says here, the attempts to curb the population of emus employed soldiers armed with machine guns.
And they lost.
And they lost.
Well, it's really, I think. Well, we've got so many pests here. I think that really, like if you look at Australia, we've got a bunch of dangerous animals, but we've also got a huge portion of just like pests. And I think we've just been kind of collecting them like Pokemon. Like, we've got like cane toads, we got the European minor birds, we've got the emus, and we just emus started here. I guess they're here before we came. I think it's just. We're just not very good at dealing with animals, I guess. Like, we just let them go. No, I don't know. Although it's really hard to chase like animals across Australia because it's so flat and so barren usually that usually the animals that can survive there are going to cost humans more money than it takes to actually go and kill them. I guess it's probably an economic thing.
Well,
I can't believe that's a real thing.
I will show you this on my screen share. Serbs is awake again.
You finally woke up again, you son of a bitch.
Wait, did I fall asleep again?
We caught you snoring again on the mic.
Oh, fuck's sake. The Wednesday night stream really does make me sleepy. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We are asking our resident Australian about the emu war.
Oh, yeah.
And here's your stats. 3 soldiers, 12 farmers, 20,000 emu warriors.
Wait, this is a slightly modified one because dignity wasn't one of the casualties.
This is from Uncyclopedia.
Yeah, this is from Uncyclopedia.
Well, I feel they should put dignity back in there.
Yeah.
Wait, there's pigeon kill as well.
No.
No, Pigeon's still there.
No.
But
So was it actually 3 soldiers and 12 farmers?
No. There were no casualties apart from loss of dead emus. Wow.
Oh, okay. I was kind of hoping it was like a battalion. I was kind of hoping it was like 1,000 soldiers with machine guns, because that would be even more humiliating. Like you think about them just marching, you know.
Well, apparently statistics at the time, they were anywhere between, I think, 50 and 200 emus. I think they had less impact, and then they tried to call them back on 3 stations in different years, and the military declined the offer. I think.
Here's the official aftermath from Wikipedia. In spite of the problems encountered with the cull, the farmers of the region once again requested military assistance in 1934, 43, and 48, only to be turned down by the government. Instead, the bounty system that had been instigated in 1923 was continued, and this proved to be effective. 57,034 bounties were claimed over a 6-month period in 1934. By December 1932, word of the emu had spread, reaching to Great Britain. Some conservationists protested the cull's extermination of the rare emu. Dr. Dominic Cerventi, an eminent Australian ornithologist, described the cull as an attempt at the mass destruction of the birds.
There was an actual battle. There was the Battle of the 8th of November. It has a name. It was a named battle.
But if you look at so it started in 1923, did they say?
That's when the bounty started. The war was in 32.
Okay. So 32, like that's almost intergenerational, like almost, because it's from 32 till 48, right? And that's also overlapping. Oh no, it's not quite overlapping World War II. Damn. But anyway, like when you think about it, right, like, does this mean that like sons have been taking up the mantles of their fathers in the emu war? Like, just like
son, let me tell you something. Those emus are tough sons of bitches. It's like fighting raptors.
Oh God!
It is. Because
They are
pretty much.
They are ugly bastards as well.
And I think they're the modern descendant of raptors, aren't they?
They're hiding something.
Yeah.
They always
Well,
look
they
pretty.
probably would be anyway, because I think all birds would be probably.
This is something Jack actually brought up in the chat that we were going to shill out earlier. Right now we have a contest going on.
Oh, contest time.
Yeah, Jack brought this up, and we started this Sunday, and we're doing write a dating profile for particular individuals in the pro and anti-Gamergate community. You are free to submit anybody you want to for the dating profile, but the ones that are going to get the most visibility are Zoe Quinn, Anita Sarkeesian, Arthur Chu, and John McIntosh. And as a bonus, we're throwing in Anthony Birch in the anti-side. And on the pro side, Total Biscuit, Christina Summers, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Critical Kelly. Fair note, this is fictitious and parodic. That is all it's meant to do. Don't actually go to a dating website and set this shit up. There is a prize offered, as a matter of fact. Code is putting his money where his mouth is, and there is $25 in Steam cash on the line, as well as $25 worth of Riot points for League of Legends on the line.
So, Secret Game Dev, get to your writing.
Will do. Wait, yeah, cool. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. People get involved. Start doing things funny.
We got to keep our humor up, otherwise they win.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the main tactics we have against them.
So, by the way, Winston Churchill was a big proponent in providing foreign aid to Australia during the Great Emu War.
He was also a big proponent of gassing Indians.
Oh,
God.
He made an impressive call trying to convince the British people that everyone should participate in the Great War. Great War.
Oh,
hilarious.
Speaking of that, we didn't do this yesterday, but Happy Remembrance Day to all you guys over there. That day was Veterans Day for us as well here in the United States.
Yes, Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day, and happy for you guys. Happy Remembrance Day, because we don't have Remembrance Day here in the United States. because we didn't have.
It's not really a happy day. It's not really a happy day.
Yeah, it's not.
It's kind of like.
Yeah, I know, but it's just.
It's a day, all right? And when it's a day, you say happy day. I don't know. I don't have an excuse. But anyways, so it's SecretGameDev. Thank you for coming on to join us. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Is this your first stream?
No, it's actually my second. My first one was in September. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Who did you chat with? Do you remember?
It was a Kotaku in action stream, so it had Hat in it. It had Synthavine, Jen Dawson. Who else? I had a few other people, but I actually only was in the tail end of it because I was
probably Becca and.
Oh, actually, that was one of the only ones I think that Becca wasn't on, and I was like so hyped to meet Becca, but no, it didn't happen. Yeah.
Your GGQT.
Huh?
Is she your GGQT then? So SecretGameDev. No, nobody. Okay, fuck you guys.
Oh, sorry. I was just. Oh wait. Are we talking about Gamergate waifus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew this would come up, and I was like, so I was preparing answers all night last night. I was just like, they're definitely gonna ask me who my wife is. I have no idea. I think all the women in Gamergate are fantastic, really.
So you want the concubine? You want the harem?
Yeah. Well, who doesn't?
Jesus Christ.
The Gamergate waifu.
Well, there are There are definitely superior waifus out there, so I think that's a cop-out. Oh, shut up.
I would venture to say at least half of Gamergate has Sail Hayton as their waifu, if I had to guess.
Has she actually appeared on any streams? I didn't even know it was a girl.
She may come on and join us, but she's got a fear of public speaking. So
that's okay. We don't have a public audience.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I think it's it's really cool because meeting all the people in Gamergate, like everyone's pretty damn logical and really smart and stuff. It's really cool. It makes it really hard to choose people who you like more than everyone else, and it really helps that kind of the cloud of furor sort of image we have going. There are no favorites.
You generally just base it on breast size, cuteness of face.
Well, with this, we've proven that with Mercedes on our side, we have better porn.
Yeah, we definitely do, and she's actually really cool. I like the fact that she actually when you tweet at her, she actually talks to you. It's really awesome.
And we were very surprised to find out that before going into porn, she was an aerospace engineer, I believe.
Yeah, she worked at a company that worked with NASA to launch things into space.
We have intellectual porn, basically. So highbrow.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Secret?
Oh no, no. She is really fantastic. I think the way she's approaching her life is very she does what she wants to do, and she obviously I don't know what to say. She's really cool. Did you guys catch the reading of the Jim and Milo?
Yeah. Those two did. Me and Code were too busy getting our stream prepped right after that because we had Mercedes on after that.
Mercedes came on after us, so we did not get to listen to it. But she's actually really easy to talk to, really cool to talk to, really astronomically nice person, and as I already said, aerospace engineer. So you kind of get real porn, like boobs and tits, or tits and ass porn, but also that intellectual porn because she seems really, really smart.
Yeah, she is.
I've watched. I had a little browse of her porn. It doesn't seem like intellectual porn per se.
God. No, that's what you browsed was the tits and ass porn.
We're still competing with the Girls of Gamergate stream, by the way, which is on now.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that we're nearly 3 months into this, and we're still conflicting streams. You know, with it's just like, seriously, I know we want the open market for video games, but fucking sort your act out, guys. Jeez.
It's just as bad in the games industry, actually, like releasing games. Like I used to work in a mobile company, and you know, like you're trying to compete with mobile games on a global market. We have one that released alongside a very similar game by Gameloft, and we were just like, oh, well, fuck, because you know, like they take the Apple first spots, and yeah, I don't know, like they have Mercedes on, don't they? So they're like.
I mean, it was like it was like when Weird Al's movie UHF released. UHF released at the same time I think Raiders of the Lost Ark did in theaters.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if you look at the Gamergate stream for tonight, there's like 8 streams going on tonight, but it's like that every single night. So there's absolutely no way we could schedule this to not conflict unless we were to do it at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and God forbid you do it on a Sunday because that's when everybody streams.
That's when we stream.
Yeah. That's when we stream.
Have to be Australian time. Maybe I should set up shop and then I can get the Australian viewers.
You should definitely do an Australian open house, create an Aussie echo chamber. We don't have that yet.
Yeah. All you'll just hear is mate.
Well, the Girls of Gamergate one has only got actually 200 viewers on there. I'm still surprised they've got Becca's still actually going on there, which is kind of interesting. I didn't, to be honest, until that fiasco that happened with the Agents of Balance, I didn't really know who she was. Like she goes on there, to be honest.
I don't even know what the Agents of Balance was.
It was a load of people thinking they were funny, creating a joke and clique, basically, and a lot of people ended up getting hurt because of it.
Yeah, a lot of people got hurt. That was King of Pole losing his shit.
Yeah, it was part of King of Pole losing his shit. It was people trying to drum up a conspiracy to one, have fun, but two, also try and out people who buy into tinfoil conspiracy things.
The problem with that was, like, when he was actually confronted about, like, people, like so I said I was on stream with Jennifer Dawson. So because her name is Jennifer Daw, and then her actual name is so she was in this before me, and I've talked to her a lot, and she is really cool. And then then having her out as a shill by King of Pole, like then people were like, okay, hold on, and they asked Roguestar. And he was like, oh, no, actually, we don't really think that she's a shill. And so it was just really weird because it was just like, it was drummed up so much. But then when we started going through the list of, okay, let's look at all these people, when you actually asked about them, they were like, oh, they might not be a shill. It was just, I don't even know what was going on there. I think I only caught the tail end of it. It was just fuck.
Yeah, there was the real sort of issue was there were certain people within that Skype group that decided to set up basically a little joke to try and out people and laugh at people who were into the conspiracy type things and into the Diagra sort of things, and to basically poke fun at them when they came, to question the Agents of Balance, which was originally an email sent by one individual, and then these Gamergaters decided to create, and they were doing stupid things like fucking tweeting to each other in Google translated Japanese, and it's along the same. But the problem was that kind of sort of mirrored the same sort of behaviour as these, Zoe Quinn and people like that who use the weird Twitter and sort of, have their own little clique basically within the clique. And the real problem was that when confronted about them, some of them are, very nice and been helpful to the movement, but they wouldn't basically admit.
No one would own up to it. Yeah.
Yeah, no one would own up to the fact that. Yeah, it was
on Twitter.
Well, it was kind of basically swept under the carpet after the whole King of Pole basically came out as like calling everybody a shill because it kind of diluted like what some people were saying and doing in this Skype group. But a lot of the fallout from it was that there were over 50 people that were doxxed by polls, like angry. They were doxxed, they were shouted at, called a shill, that weren't even on that list, basically.
Yeah.
and they got threatened at the time, and it was just a complete mess. And the fact that nobody would, accept responsibility, and still doesn't really, as the Rafflecast still calls it a bloody joke, as the Achilles, basically. He was just laughing his way through his explanation of it. Really fucking shit act, on behalf of some of those people.
The thing is with shills though, like the strategy just like this is something that I've been trying to just get through to everyone, like just from day one. It's just okay, there are shills. Like there might be shills. Like I don't think I've actually ever really experienced one. Like I've heard on the anon board sometimes you get people being like, Gamergate's not very good or whatever. But look, if you experience a shill, like how are you going to deal with it? Do you try to fuel the paranoia there? Do you try to get angry at them? Do you try to shout at them? Do you try to cause a commotion? No, you just laugh at them, you be nice to them, you just ignore them. Like, it's just so weird when there's drama about shills because it's the exact opposite of what everyone knows to do about shills.
Angela Merkel, I still applaud her tactic because she basically did that. She in a debate for the German chancellorship. For those that don't know, the guy she was competing against for the chancellery, she went on a debate with him, and she didn't say a word for the entire hour or hour and a half of the debate, and just let him eat his own words and drown in them.
Yeah.
Smart woman.
Huh? Oh yeah, she is.
Smart woman. That's the right way to go about it. So all right, Secret. Thanks for coming on and joining us. I greatly appreciate it. It was fun talking.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. I was gonna say most definitely, but no problem works even better.
Alright, I'll see you later.
All right.
See you later. Take care, man.
Have a great day.
See you later.
Not a night. Have a
too.
great day. It's noon.
Yep,
Go eat
yep.
lunch.
How about you guys have a good day tomorrow? See you later.
See ya.
Take it easy, man. Oh. So, something happened with me last night.
So I heard.
Did your girlfriend put her finger up your bum?
Sadly, I don't have a girlfriend, so I wanted to say the response to that was I wish, but
That feel
Need more waifu.
need a way. But no, apparently I had I was getting kind of inflammatory on Twitter last night because I discovered someone. His name is I'm not going to reveal his Twitter handle, just because I don't want a mob. But he is the chairperson behind Con Bravo, which is a big kind of Con Bravo kind of makes itself a celebration of geek culture convention. And I saw his tweets and looking through them, and it was just all this anti-inflammatory Gamergate shit. And one of the first tweets that I noticed was he said, "Hey Gamergate, fuck you."
You what?
He just said, "Hey Gamergate, fuck you," and he didn't even put the hashtag in there. He just put, "Hey Gamergate," no hashtag.
Okay.
And I screen capped his tweets. As a matter of fact, I could fucking bring this out of my Twitter feed because I have it. I showed this just to get some eyes on it. I showed this.
You're not sharing your stuff. There we go.
And I showed this. I'm sorry to reveal his Twitter handle. Don't go after him, please. Don't.
There's only 20 people. It's all right.
Yeah. But I posted this, and he said, "Something you want to say?" And immediately people jumped him after reading all the... And it wasn't like immediate, and it wasn't a whole mob. It was like 4 or 5 people. It wasn't that many. But this is the man who is the chairperson behind Con Bravo saying this.
I can't read it personally.
Gaming doesn't have a core. It doesn't have casuals. The hardcore that's a delusion of a very small insular section. Everybody games. Football fans, league players, grandmas on Bejeweled, kids with action figures, commuters playing Sudoku. Everyone. There are no real gamers. So stuff it, Gamergate. You aren't gamers and never were.
The fuck does that mean?
Welcome to the thing that got me kind of fired up last night. Him being a jackass.
I have no idea what that even means.
If you look through his tweets, it's all just. As a matter of fact, let me pull him up. Let me read some of his tweets out here. One of the things he said was because of the Stardock stuff. I'm really glad I never purchased a Stardock game.
He's just a douche.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. He is a douche.
Because that was the one thing he did. He never, when he talked about Gamergate, notice there is no hashtag.
Well, of course not. He doesn't want people to.
So I kind of yanked this. I yanked this out just to be like, and I at home I didn't want to post on Twitter because I was afraid I was getting inflammatory, so I just kind of pulled myself back. But this is just him being kind of a coward.
And this is Con Bravo.
Yeah, this is the leader. This is not just the man who organized. This is the fucking chairman. This is the guy who owns Con Bravo.
Yeah.
Right there, Gamergate. Fuck you for trying to co-op Remembrance / Veterans Day for your own shitty purposes. How did we co-op that? I want to know.
I don't think he knows. At this point, nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah, it's a daily reminder. Gamergate sucks. You know. When anyone posts that bullshit photo comparing XOXO Fest and a fighting game tournament, they reply with that, and I haven't taken a look at that, but yeah. Here's another one. Hey Gamergate, how about you go bug EA or some guys actually corrupt instead of the little guys? A nightly tweet Gamergate. He's just been doing that, and he's basically making his own little echo chamber.
Oh, of course, but he doesn't want to because he doesn't want to actually deal with Gamergate.
He really doesn't, and it pretty much immediately shut him down. Like someone caught it. I think it was Edible Husbando on Twitter caught it, and jumped in there.
I have to read these tweets because I haven't. I know you sent him to Skype.
That was just a fight that I had with him. That was just me doing the Merkel tactic of bringing it up and letting him eat his own words.
And it worked because look at him.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I can bring it up. Yeah, because his first tweet, sorry, did I say something wrong? And then another person thinking we're the side that wants certain people out. Lots of things. You know, someone replied to him, lots of things. Don't worry, we're used to it. Seriously, it's fine. You can have your hateful views. I won't try to take them from you. Lady Ravona, who was one of the first ones to jump in, so shout out to her. By your logic, you should be calling for the heads of journos too. They declared gamers dead, all those people. That's not what they did. They did, however, point out that gamers is a restrictive term. And he was basically went on to say how Gamergate is basically gatekeeping and all this other shit. And yeah. I was just like, what the fuck?
At this point, I'm so not even shocked anymore. People say so much shit about Gamergate that I'm not even shocked.
Well, you know what? If this stream had more people, I would like to say that we add Con Bravo to the boycott.
We should.
We should. The only thing is, I don't want to hurt JonTron's website because I looked at the guest list for this year's Con Bravo, and one of them is Pro Jared, who is at Normal Boots.
Well,
but and the other three were like, two were from that guy with the glasses, and Shay Apocalypse, which is, we've seen how well they've been.
Have that guy with the glasses been relevant with anything in years?
Doug's about really the only one.
Doug? Oh, you mean Nostalgia Crack?
Yeah, the original, that guy with the glasses. He's been about the only one who's actually been funny.
I don't watch them. Hey, I posted a link in the Hangout chat. I want you to play. We're gonna play some of it.
Okay.
What is it?
You'll see.
Let me set up my camera. Fuck you. Dual screens. There we go. And I will be ready here in a moment and switching.
Jerry says he's ready. There we go. All right, I'm gonna mute you two and me for a minute.
You don't have to mute me.
I'm muting everybody.
No, okay.
Code, before we get this started, how long do you want me to go with this?
I'll type in chat.
Okay.
I want you to stop.
Okay.
It's Football Saturday at the University of Delaware. A part of campus life that every student expects, and a welcome break from the daily rigors of academic life. In an idyllic setting of red brick Georgian architecture dating back to its founding in 1743, Delaware is a highly sought-after school. More than 25,000 students apply to become freshmen each year. Most of them will live in campus dormitories like these, where in recent years freshmen were required to attend an unusual orientation program that would bring widespread attention to the university. Most American colleges and universities operate orientation programs. They're led by paid residence advisors who are themselves students. But here at Delaware, two campus administrators, Kathleen Kerr and James Tweedy, headed a residence life program designed not to orient, but to indoctrinate. The results for the university and its trustees would be embarrassing.
One of the more ridiculous programs that we were made to participate in was we were gathered in a circle around a large bowl of marshmallows. A series of statements were read off, and if you have ever been afraid to show affection for your significant other in public, if you've ever been afraid to walk through a dark alley at night, and if any of these statements applied to you, you would take a marshmallow and you would place it inside your mouth and you would hold it there, and anytime the statement applied, you'd take another marshmallow. But these statements were targeted towards women, to gays, to minorities, such that by the end of the evening, if you were a white male, you didn't have any marshmallows in your mouth. But if you were, say, an African American female, you had marshmallows in your mouth. And then we were told to speak to each other, and her voice would be muffled because of all these
all the oppressions, yeah,
symbolized in these, tasty little marshmallows that she was holding inside her cheek.
Delaware's residence life administrators developed a program that covered a variety of topical issues. There was special emphasis on race and race relations. It was all contained in a 4-inch thick handbook. To drive these ideas home, students were required to participate in role-playing activities, and any racist or sexist speech was to be treated with the same urgency as a fire, rape, or a suicide attempt. In time, word spread about what was going on in the dormitories. Jan Blitz and Linda Gottfriedson are professors of long standing in the freshman honors program at the university. They care about their students and are accessible to them. Professor Gottfriedson teaches a variety of courses to freshman honor students, including...
Jerry, pause it.
It's about goddamn time, Jerry. So...
Sorry, I was fiddling with XSplit there for a second.
Did you all listen to that?
Yeah, it's all crazy.
Did you all listen to specifically put marshmallows in your mouth, target question towards women and people of color, to the point where they can't speak, and then ask them to have a conversation with a white man?
Well, the fact that they showed the definitions of racism and stuff like that race is not a non-racism is not a term. No, it's a fucking word. It's not, well, it's a combination of words, but still.
Yeah, racism doesn't exist. I just wanted to play that because I think we all understand academia is fucked. But that's beyond fucked up. Why is this shit going on in a school? Why is the school okay with this? Actually, I don't think this happens in Delaware anymore because I think they were pretty embarrassed by it. But why was this ever allowed to go on?
Wasn't the third wave experiment in like something relatively similar, except for it was still a ruse?
Well, yeah, the third wave
exact same thing, except it was it was the exact same thing, except it was genuinely a ruse.
Yeah.
I don't even know so much the third wave. That wasn't even really a ruse. It was more a means to prove to Americans that everybody is susceptible to fascist ideals.
Yeah.
And going back to the shit that I read earlier, all that stuff from the Cult Institute. How similar does that sound? How just relating to the anti-GG side? How does that not sound like the exact way they operate?
Well, it is.
It is, but it's also starting to creep into our side a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Because I think due to the sort of the pressure that people have been put under, it doesn't take much to radicalize people, especially if they're oppressed as well.
I wouldn't even say it's oppressed. I think it's more suppressed.
Yeah, suppressed. Well, yeah.
Yeah, oppression's kind of a loaded term these days.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the people are not your shield feel slightly, bit of both, really.
Yeah.
Four of them.
You know, me as the white man, I'll take your oppression on and be angry for you. No, they
Yeah.
are right to be fucking angry.
So somebody in chat said that's not all that uncommon. I would hope that's uncommon.
Yeah,
I would really.
There is radicalizing even in this country of like LGBT groups and things like that. Basically, that they go around. As I said, when I was leaving university at the end of my 7th year there, I just read one of the posters and it was just like they encourage like the LGBT groups to police like conversations that happen on campus and report them and stuff like that. You know, if they find the content of these conversations at odds with their sort of using.
So you literally had an LGBT Gestapo.
Yeah, pretty much. If they were armed, it would be even scarier.
God damn it, Godwin! Why do you have to be right so many times?
Go ahead. Finish. I thought.
No, that's just the way these sort of things go now. They've gone from being the oppressed or suppressed, to carte blanche on, trying to, stamp this out, but at the same time stamping out basically any fucking free speech or, I don't know, any words they dislike.
The Jonathan McIntosh Committee on Moral Speech.
Yes.
Also, we have got to share that fucking tweet that he made.
Oh, we will.
I couldn't stop laughing at the irony.
Well, I double-checked one of my research groups before we started, like, thinking about that. They definitely aren't working class, the Macintoshes.
No.
They're well-travelled, and I can't remember whether he was in... they were in some kind of service. I don't know whether it was either, like... It either looked like, from an old photo... Either looked like the family had ties to either the military or the fire service or something. I don't know. There was a few uniforms basically, but the Macintoshes historically don't look like they were ever working class.
I don't think they were. By the way, I'm inviting Patton. He's got something to show that I'll let him show later on when we're done with our talking. But I'm just inviting him now, anyways. So that video, I like Patton. That video was from the Fire Org. And they looking through them, I initially thought, based on just that video alone, that maybe they're sort of men's rightsy and that whatnot. So maybe I shouldn't really push them just from a PR standpoint. But they're not that at all. They apparently just fight free speech on campus, and that's what they do, regardless of what that speech is. That's just what they do, and I think that's fucking brilliant. I think having an organization to fight for free speech on campus is one of the greatest things ever, and I wish more people would pay attention to them.
And now you're echoing.
That's because I am walking up my basement.
He's literally in an echo chamber. Yeah.
He's literally in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
But sir, do you think that with the third wave experiment kind of thing, isn't that essentially a lot like Digra in a lot of ways? And I love how they talk about influencing people.
Yeah, Digra's entire mission, especially in the UK, from what I've read of various different things, is basically to create networks. Is to create mini Digras, basically, at regional sorts of levels. All for basically creating ties to journalists, to creating ties to industry, like developers. Basically, they're trying to create these sort of networks in the UK now. I think it's Esther McCallum. She's like a massive fan of Mia Consalvo's like structure in the United States, and Digra's actually come out quite recently. There is physically attacked sort of Gamergate, basically saying that now academics are afraid to publish papers because if they're feminists they will be dismissed, and they'll be dismissed as academics as well. It's all a lot of feels and not many reals, basically. The article's great, actually, because the guy actually cites a lot of concise criticism about Digra that appears in Kotaku in Action and also in Sargon's videos. So Mia Consalvo basically has done shots fired, and she's done it in a really retarded kind of way. So there will be some kickback to that.
Bruce Campbell in chat says not all Digra. Yes, we know. The problem with Digra, if you want to call it a problem, is the board has been co-opted by mostly radfems. So it's not all Digra members. It can't ever be all Digra members because, like the Gamergate hashtag, it's really open to anybody, except you have to pay Digra. You don't have to pay the Gamergate hashtag. But outside of that, there's nothing stopping you from joining Digra.
I mean, what kind of world do we live in where something called the Fembot Collective, sounds fucking rational?
Yeah, I know, right?
The Fembot's held down by the oppressive man-puter.
Yeah,
Just run by a man-bot.
Not all Digra, but pretty much most of Digra. Digra will... That will go on. People will believe it, people won't. But it's pretty insidious. That's all you can really say. There are some people that just want to get published, and they want to get published by writing shit about, through the humanities about games rather than anything sort of scientific. And they're free to do so, with their fucking, quasi-sociology, cultural studies, and bullshit like that. They're free to flood the market with crap. But I think there will come a point where someone will just basically say, hey guys, this shit's, not getting properly peer-reviewed. And it's not really adding anything to a discourse, and the discourse is a bit shit anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Did you see the article that one of the, I believe it was a Digra member published, I think it was today, that said how Gamergate is now attacking the digital research, whatever, basically attacking Digra, and it goes on to state how people are looking into Digra's research and scrutinizing it, and how that is a form of attacking Digra. Or Digra, or whatever you want to. And I'm like, no, that's exactly any true, and I'm now going with the true Scotsman argument, but like a real academic is going to want their work scrutinized. They're not going to go, you're attacking me for scrutinizing my work. They're going to go, thank you for scrutinizing my work. You know what I mean?
Well, no, they point of science, isn't it? It's to try and prove someone else's point bullshit, and if nobody can, it's generally seen as somewhat legitimate. But aren't they trying to get rid of the peer review process as well?
Yeah, they ultimately want rid of the peer review process. And the funny thing is that, we're going through articles at the moment by Adriana Shaw, and she pretty much calls for says that basically diversity in video games isn't really needed. Most people don't really need representation in video games, and she's actually discovered that herself. So half of this argument has been null and void by their research in the first place about diversity in video games. So, and those articles, they're really funny. They were written in 2010, 2011. So why then, if they don't need to change, if they don't need to put diverse characters in video games because people don't really care who represents them on screen, why do they then have to change the market, which is ultimately what she wants to do, saying that gamers don't necessarily have to be your demographic anymore? It's really fucking odd.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah, well.
And we want to welcome Patton back on the stream.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, Patton.
How are you
Hey,
guys?
Patton.
You are getting a little mini celebrity status going on here.
Well, I don't want that. There's drama with that. I don't want that.
That is true. But welcome.
Well, thank you. Quick question with that Digra thing. Wasn't there something last month that was showing evidence that the Digra members were just using other Digra members' research to validate their research? It just became a circle jerk of crappy research.
Yeah,
totally.
There is they cite their own articles in a lot of it, and there is Brendan Keogh is a fantastic example, and we'd like to. There's a couple of us that would really like to stick him for some plagiarism, which, depending on when the dates of certain articles in journals got published, might be achievable. But he's a vocal person who's written for Kotaku. He actually wrote something on Spec Ops: The Line, and his actual he actually wrote a book about it as well, a short book that's available on Amazon. That's a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's terrible from what I hear.
Yeah. Basically, he cites his own work. He then also, by just judging by the structure of the essay that he submitted to Digra, seems to have lifted his main core argument from another article by a scholar who was writing. I can't remember. It was a final year university piece. I think it's a university in Canada, but I haven't got my notes on me here. But it was the exact same structure, the exact same arguments, and it was about the industrial military complex and Spec Ops: The Line, and you could put the two sides by side. Yes, Brendan Keogh had basically elaborated, but he'd essentially used the same arguments and not even cited this guy as a source. But the only thing that holds up is dependent on the date of submissions, basically, because it's full papers.
From what I saw of the book and the little excerpts that I saw, it didn't even feel like he actually played the game.
It's quite possible, because, well, fuck knows. That game
fucks with your head.
It does, but to be, well, I don't know, maybe I just don't have any feelings at all. You know, the white phosphorus bit, for me, it was just like, okay, I'm kind of forced into this. I know something bad's gonna kind of happen, because so far this game's been going fucking down the, Heart of Darkness route.
Yeah, well, that's one of its basis things.
Yeah, but when I was forced into doing that, because I kind of wasn't gonna do it, it was the game just kind of that stopped then. The moral choices, if you're forced down a path.
I think it's supposed to be a commentary, isn't it? Like you get things like Call of Duty, for example, where you're kind of in an AC-130 killing Russians, I believe it was, and you're time. Yeah, and you're kind of, you don't think any further for it. So I think that was kind of the commentary that Spec Ops: The Line was going for, that actually these weapons and things that do have actual, what's the word? Actual.
The use of these weapons have consequences, yeah.
Yeah, and you don't realise that a lot of the time playing video games. Like, you kind of glorify them and kind of disconnect it from reality. And I think that's kind of its entire. What it's trying to go at.
And there's actually a very good scene later in the game that, believe it or not, was actually really cool. There's two guys hanging up on basically like a road sign, like an interstate sign, and they said you had to pick which one to die. Well, you can actually shoot the chain, and it will drop each of them. And then there's a village you can run through where they tell you have to shoot these people, when in reality you can point the gun in the air and fire, and they'll just scatter.
Yeah, there are lots of morals, there are choices, but at that point it doesn't give you the choice. It forces you down the path of insanity, and I don't like that.
Yeah, well, I think that was the only one that was like that.
Yeah, it was the only one, but it was the MacGuffin. It was the defining point in the game. Yeah. It was kind of a bit forced after. You can't try and sell a game on sort of moral freedom beyond that afterwards, because you kind of were forced into that decision.
True.
So I'm going to interject here real quick. We got somebody who used to peer review science/engineering papers. Not peer review, but edit them. And he's got some insight into the peer review process, at least in terms of engineering and technology. He wants to, I don't know, set the record straight or just talk about it. So I'm going to bring him in here real quick.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that'd be interesting to hear.
Plot twist, it's actually Pixie Jenny again.
Oh, plot twist. I'd just eat my own testicles at that rate.
Wait, what? Who?
It's actually just Pixie Jenny on a sock puppet account.
Hi, guys! Oh, fucking hell.
You just hear 2 gunshots, like one from Sam and then one from me.
Yeah, because you don't have to live in the same country as that.
Mm-hmm.
You can close down your borders to stop the pixie dust.
God, we've been working on doing that for years. It's failed.
Oh, man. It's worse than Ebola once you get pixie.
Oh, God.
Yeah. What it does is it basically erodes your brain, a bit like Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, until all that's left is like a really archaic sort of remnant.
Serbs, let me stop you. I love you. I love you.
What the fuck is Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease?
I'm just going to say I love you.
Oh, okay. It's basically where sort of spongy like holes start appearing in the brain.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
Gary Busey disease?
What?
So what is it, like Gary Busey disease?
Yeah, you turn into Gary Busey. You just start fucking like your teeth just start protruding out, and you just start gurning at people. So who is this person coming in?
Bruce Campbell is the name of the chat.
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, he's here already. That was quick.
Oh, he's got a shotgun.
You're fucking about. I have.
Oh, we've seen Bruce before. He appeared on.
He appears on our stream, and then he jumps on Robin's stream, and now he's here.
Oh god, they always do that. You give them a bit of fame, and they fucking.
They get hungry.
Fame? What? I've just been trying to understand what the fuck is going on with all this stuff and figuring out where the best course is. I mean, I've been thinking about looking into Niagara and this research for a while because it kind of irked me, this concept of making analysis and decisions that are honestly flimsy as hell. There's no real methodology that's being applied to any of it. It's like, well, I've constructed this somewhat kind of, I guess, definition of these two things that are not really well explained, and as long as I cite this one person who wrote a paper X amount of years ago, who cares?
Yeah.
I still have yet to really see people even cite sometimes original sources, which is the big thing that I remember, which was if someone is going to cite something in a paper, you need to go back, check that source, make sure that source wasn't citing another source. You have to go back and find the first time that source was ever cited if you're going to cite it. You have to cite the original source.
Yeah, welcome to my fucking
world.
world.
I'm just gonna check for everybody. I'll start going through the notes because we're actually working with the guy who works in academia at the moment about Digra, who's and it's going back to that Brendan Keogh thing, and it was a breakdown of the sources that were actually used in the fucking articles in the first place.
I actually played some of Keogh's games that he, quote-unquote, games that he made.
What are they like?
Very, very, very trippy and just kind of stupid. Like one of them, I don't want to say stupid because they're actually games. There's actually a failure state in them.
Really?
But, yes, there actually is a fucking failure state in it, and it surprised the shit out of me. One was you had to run away from Michael Foucault because he was trying to come and fucking eat you.
Okay.
And another one was kind of like a horror murder mystery done, once again, that very hipster, ironic, pixelated fucking style, which I've got no problem with pixelated horror games. It's just I wanted something to happen, and nothing happened for the 30 minutes that I played it.
I really hate over pixelized, over fucking downgraded graphics for no fucking reason, then they can't be asked.
I like there's a few I like that. What was the one? I'm Scared. I'm Scared had a great kind of pixelated style, and they really.
Did we just lose Jerry?
Jerry is kill.
So who else here has done anything in academics or written papers or anything? So I have just kind of one quick question.
Jerry has.
I have. I think
What would
most
happen
people on
if
here.
you cited a Facebook something in your paper? What would happen if you're writing a master's and you cited someone on Facebook?
That should never pass peer review.
They'd laugh at you.
Okay.
Okay, I'd never be in. I mean, the stuff that I do would never be ever use that in any context. So I'm out of answering that question. If somebody else wants to cover that question,
It wouldn't pass peer review, and I haven't written academic papers myself, but I do have some family and close friends who are pretty high up in academia with a lot of tenure. And I can tell you right now, that's not a trusted source. I mean,
no, I mean,
that's not even a trusted source. That's not even a fucking trusted source for Wikipedia. How the fuck is it going to be a trusted source for a master's or doctorate paper?
I'm
gonna drop I'm on my phone right now. I'm gonna drop the Hangout with my other account, come back in and see if that fixes it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because they were always, when I was at university, they were always skeptical about using any internet links at that stage, basically, because as you know, and you had to properly cite whenever you were using research and in your argument from websites as well. And Wikipedia has never even been a trusted site on to use as a source of reference either. Because of biases and all sorts. Basically, it's it could just be bollocks what you're citing. So the idea of citing Facebook is a bit fucking mad. But I'm not gonna.
That's stupid because I caught the questions. Like I've had to write fucking papers for the past 2 or 3 semesters, and it's just been a madhouse.
So Hate from Hell also says that Facebook is not public domain, so therefore it cannot be cited.
Well, I mean, I have Anita Sarkeesian's master thesis in front of me. And
that was something. Who all actually watched the video of that earlier today?
Thunderfoot's video, but did she?
God damn it, he beat me to it. I have not watched that yet because I was like, shit, there goes like 2 hours down the drain.
It's hilarious. But did she cite Facebook?
Yes. Yeah, I posted it in the group chat. That was the that was the source she cited in her paper. It was
She cited that source in a goddamn master thesis?
I believe this is her master's thesis. If I understand correctly, her TV tropes and women. That's her master's from.
What on Facebook did she cite though?
It's in the Hangout chat.
Yeah, I put the actual annotation from her bibliography in there, and then I put the quote that was directly before it.
Can you repost that because I just joined the Hangout again and I didn't see the first one.
I don't even. How would that even get through peer review?
Why did she have to do that? I mean, he writes books.
I still have yet to actually see any of her sources be physical academic articles. Every time I punch one of her sources into Google, I get popped up with someone's book.
Oh, Tim Wise is
against books, but I think
interesting.
For academic, I've only gotten through, like I said, about half of them.
Well, no,
this is trying to find the sources, the books, and try to find a way to actually read the books themselves. But
okay, Britt, this is interesting because she cites Tim Wise. Now, Tim Wise is basically loathed by the black community as he's taken upon fighting the battles for African American communities, but he's a white guy basically, and he's just like he's got a loathing he's got a self-loathing basically of the white race. But also, basically, the African American community shits on him as well, which is quite amusing. So he's a bit of a pariah that's caught in the middle of this. And he's Macintosh's brother actually does work for Tim Wise, which is really funny. And Tim Wise is basically heralded as their god. They love his stuff basically. So
it gets better because the statement directly before the quote is anti-racist anti-racist activist and author Tim Wise said, and then she goes into her quote, and by the way, also the oddest kind of citing I've seen, because she cites him before the quote, Tim Wise, parentheses, 2010 said, then a quote, then parentheses Wise, 2010.
Yeah, that's a weird citation, but I'm going to read this quote so people don't know when you keep saying quote. If you believe the system is broken, you clearly don't understand the system. After a while, certain outcomes stop being... Hold on, I want to make sure I read that right. Yeah. After a while, certain outcomes stop being evidence of failure and become instead evidence of the most disturbing and twisted form of success. What?
I can't. I can't.
And again, she is quoting from his Facebook. When I go to her bibliography and find Wise T, I see revised February 2010 from facebook.com/Tim J. Wise.
Yeah, not revised, retrieved.
Or retrieved, sorry, yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out what the quote says. It says, if you believe the system is broken, you don't understand the system. And then it goes on to basically explain how the system is broken.
It's an ad hoc. It's such a broad statement that a 15-year-old would like have an epiphany hearing it for the first time.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think what this guy was trying to say, take a look at the welfare system, and that after a certain time, the fact nobody gets out of welfare, and the war on poverty has been existing since mid-'60s, that it's not evidence of failure, it's just, how does he put it, disturbing and twisted form of success, and that we're able to perpetuate the poverty and continuation of the program, the system, the bureaucracy, everything else. Is that what he's going for?
Can I just put, I'll put something in the chat. This is from a self-proclaimed black women in art, media, social media, a commentary about Tim Wise, basically. I'll also try and drop it in the
YouTube chat.
Yeah, just without the dots. So.
Yeah, please do. That could be what he's trying to say, Patton. And I guess maybe it would make more sense if we had the context from within Sarkeesian's dissertation. Or thesis, I mean.
Give me a minute and I'll give you guys a link to the thing.
Yeah, I don't know why she would utilize Facebook. Like, okay, me and Jerry could have gotten away with it in certain extreme instances in political science. Like, for example, Benjamin Netanyahu went on his Facebook and said, hey, 9 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to go fuck up the West Bank. And that was the public announcement. We could get away with using a Facebook post. But other than that...
God, no. No.
Yeah, it's just a no-no. I wasn't...
Like, me and him couldn't get away with it if we talked about a political campaign because that's all shilling.
I don't know. The thing is that's the thing. I mean, the internet and academia has been it was when I was in there. It was still frowned upon with regards to a lot of sort of sites unless they were journals, basically.
It still is.
That was my rule. You couldn't cite something if it was not if I couldn't find it in an journal index.
When I was in as well, because a lot of articles were done online as well that weren't in journals, they were somewhat allowed. To the chat, what I'm posting, you need to basically just get rid of all the spaces and put in the dots. Oh, it won't let me fucking do it. Alright, okay, basically, to the chat, gradient layer. You just need to go there, type gradient layer into... Oh, actually, just type in criticism of Tim Wise. And you'll find it. I mean, yes, Tim Wise is basically loathed as well by the far right, which he kind of wears as his little trophy, but he's also he's hated by African Americans as well, who basically say they don't need him saying, I'm one of the good white people. It's like saying he's just ridiculous.
Razorblade said... Well, Razorblade said that's an improvement. She could cite a twit. That's true. At least she's not citing Twitter, right?
Oh, God. That man.
Like I said, no matter what anyone says about Sarkeesian, I don't know why she just doesn't do sales, because seriously, she could sell ice to an Eskimo. It is unbelievable how well
No.
she can do something.
She couldn't in the early days. Back in the early days, she was pretty diabolical at marketing. Her failed website is a testament to that. No, she really needed to find an angle that was going to sell in the sort of political turmoil, and it really was like feminism basically that she latched onto.
Yeah.
She found the perfect confluence of interests.
I'm gonna have to use Hangout solely without the YouTube chat because it's causing my shit to spaz out.
We don't care. What were you saying, Patton?
I said she just found the perfect confluence of interest at the right time.
Well, yes, exactly.
She was an opportunist, and to some degree, we're now actually looking back to see whether Macintosh is actually the puppet behind her, or whether it's the other way around. We always assumed that Macintosh was pushing his basically agenda through Anita, but just looking at the way that he tweeted about sort of 9/11 and sort of things like that, he seems to actually he might have been the one that was co-opted by Anita, which is kind of a bit weird to think about, but
I think they're just jacking each other off. Like, they're just balancing each other, and them as a whole is what really makes everything come together. They balance each other perfectly in the ability to spin and keep each other from just going off. I guess I could say off the rails, but we have full Macintosh. But
you say that, but Macintosh. But the thing is, Macintosh actually was a pretty sort of normal sort of guy until 9/11 happened. 9/11 kind of shattered basically his sort of understanding of the world, because by the looks of it, he came from a quite healthy right-wing sort of family. A lot of these people do. Look at Will Wheaton. He's come from a right-wing family, and he had to apologise to them for a fucking shitty article he wrote in Salon about criticising American pundits and Christmas. Right-wing pundits on Fox News and Christmas, and that whole debacle that happens every year about taking back Christmas. He had to publicly apologise about that. A lot of these left-wingers basically at some point had their infrastructure sort of changed, or decided to rebel against Mummy and Daddy, who had, and their teaching. So it's kind of they're quite interesting characters. They've all had some sort of like crisis of conscience at some point. 9/11 was that guy's basically, and I don't know what Will Wheaton was, but shut up Wesley basically, because at the moment he's an absolute tool. He's trying to champion the internet anonymity, which, if you could imagine that, now if everybody's basically got their name out there, that would make attacking people even easier. So Will Wheaton really hasn't thought anything fucking through at all. Sorry, that's a complete segue.
Nah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Anonymity is a gift that the internet gives, but it must be used responsibly.
But yeah, that's fine. Publish the fucking addresses of all these women that are being harassed, just by fucking an anonymous voice. But now publish their real names. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Hell. And the article that he cited of the girl that committed suicide in our country, in Britain, from harassment over Ask FM, the coroner published a strong belief that the girl actually was sending messages to herself before she committed suicide.
Well, here's the funny thing and I listened to the Chris Titus podcast when he talked about that. He had a friend who worked the suicide hotline, and in talking with him, he said the friend that he talked to, he's a writer on his former TV show Titus, and he wrote on Family Guy and all this other stuff, and volunteered at the suicide hotline, and he said the people who are going to commit suicide are going to do it regardless.
Yep.
That sounds so bad to say, but it's true, right? Like, if somebody's going to kill themselves, they're going to kill themselves whether some anon on the internet tells them to or not, right? Like,
they generally don't talk about it, those that are going to commit suicide. They go about their regular day, and then suddenly it just snaps. The people that ring talking about it are generally wanting to be talked out of it, generally. They're looking for absolution.
Well, because here was what here was a call that during the story what he was telling. Here was a call that somebody came to him with. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna kill myself. Everybody says I should do this. Okay, bye." And he hung up.
Did he kill himself?
Apparently, because they wouldn't give a name, they wouldn't give an address, they wouldn't give any information about themselves. They just say, "I'm gonna do this," and then bye.
Well, yeah, that's how it is. I've had 2 buddies kill themselves, and they didn't say shit to anybody. They were happy, normal. We went out to lunch the one day with the one guy, and that fucking night he killed himself. You didn't see it coming.
Yeah, we had one with our. I don't know how much information this is revealing. We had our base commander commit suicide.
That sucks.
And nobody knew about it. Like, it was just out of the blue one day. It's like, oh, the base commander killed himself. What? And because he was a very happy-go-lucky guy, and he was very in touch with the lower rank guy, and this was a brigadier general, I think. Yeah, he was a brigadier general, and he was very in touch with the very low-rank airmen. Like, he loved to elevate low-ranking airmen up and give them recognition. And then all of a sudden, overnight, that changed.
All right, can we not talk about something so sad? Let me read something amusing. San Francisco is full of repugnant white dudes who believe capitalism and their personal technology idea will save the poor brown people.
Thanks, John.
That is full Macintosh right there.
It is full Macintosh, ladies and gentlemen.
It's like he's loaded a shotgun with crazy and just gone mad.
No. Shotgun with Crazy is the dude who posted the, what was it, Stars something gaming stuff that came out today that I know I was like tweeting out.
Yeah.
We read it on stream and our sides hurt from laughing.
Yeah, he wants to murder us all, doesn't he?
He does.
He wants to murder us all, and I found his older stuff still is crazy.
Doesn't surprise me.
Okay. What's the chance that all these Twitter feeds are all just Gary Busey's multiple personalities?
They might be. You never know.
But I want to know who says brown people. Who says the poor brown people?
My grandma.
Yeah, that's my point.
Wow, your grandmother really goes light then, but I grew up in the South, so I can't say much.
Yeah, I'm from the Midwest.
He's definitely trying to be ironic in this statement, but it's just backfired, basically.
Bad news to hipster game developers. If it's shitty for the sake of irony, bad news is it's still shitty.
Is that what he said?
No, I mean that's something I just said because it's been touted since pretty much day one of all this stuff. Depression Quest being shitty and ironic means it's still shitty.
Yes, that's true. And now here's the one I actually replied to it. I don't usually reply to him, except for the pot calling the kettle black. He says, "So Goonergate," he's referring to Gamergate.
Yeah.
So the Goonergate fiction that those of us calling for change in the gaming industry are wealthy elitists is 100% fabricated bullshit. And my response was obviously, hold on, let me find it. So you're saying generalizations are bad and usually wrong? Interesting. Because that's what he does to Gamergate, right? That's what they all do is just generalize us in one bucket. And then when it's flipped around on him, he says, "Hey, wait a minute, guys. Not me, right? Not all aggro." Right?
Hashtag not all aggro.
Yeah, we should start making that a hashtag.
I just wanted to start playing a game where either I have an actual alcoholic beverage or pretend one and a giant board with a list of all the informal fallacies, and every time I hear an ad hoc straw man, black and white, moving the goalposts, red herring, you name it, I'm just going to start taking a drink.
Ooh, there is shots fired in our chat. Gary Busey is sane compared to Macintosh.
Ooh. I don't even think that's not... What? That's not true. There is no world where Gary Busey is sane.
Wait.
I think they're both insane, just in slightly different ways.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Gary Busey is insane because he actually has fucking, holes in his brain.
They're each their own insane special snowflake.
Yep. So Axis Fiver says separating himself from Wu and Company with a question mark. That's actually maybe that is what he's doing. Maybe he realizes Wu's about to go fucking nuclear. I'm Bush. I can't say it.
Nuclear.
Yeah. Whatever.
It's pronounced nuclear.
Nuclear.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yes, we're citing The Simpsons in this stream.
I've got friends who actually work in the nuclear industry, and they will pretty much stab you if you say that to them.
God.
But maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's trying to distance himself.
I don't know.
I am now going to start that not all aggro tag. I'm going to take a picture of this tweet and tag it not all aggro. So anyways, we were going to talk about peer review and stuff, and then I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm looking into that right now.
We started talking about sad stuff.
I'm actually looking a lot. Dude, the peer review process is fucked right now. Like, a lot more than I thought it was.
Are you saying a Facebook post is okay?
No. Absolutely. I'm saying that the actual peer review process is so fucked up. I'm just looking, what is it? A Journal of Vibration and Control just had to retract 60 papers because they were peer reviewing through a selected peer review network, which is the popular thing that different people in the field get together and they select who will be in their peer review network. And they found out a guy was using 147 fake email accounts to peer review his own fucking work. I'm seeing 1,749 global warming papers had to be retracted from journals because they were peer reviewed by their own authors. It looks like all these
well, come on. I mean,
support peer review networks just chilling for each other.
Makes me question the.
I think you got to give the guy. You got to give the guy that did 140 email accounts credit. I'd let those papers stand. Just
I would have had like 10, and that would have been enough for me.
Yeah, you got to assume that he probably just sat there and paid some research assistant that was in the same position as me $10 an hour and told him to go create 147 email accounts. You can pay someone $10 an hour to do that, use it right out of grant money, and no one will be the wiser.
That's true.
I would literally create an account an hour, just to milk it, you know.
Well, it depends if they gave you limits on how many hours a week you could go. I know I had that more when I was a teaching assistant than when I was a research assistant, but yeah, it was still like you can't go more than this many hours a week, otherwise we'll run out of money.
Oh, well, if they didn't stipulate, I'd go crazy. And then just charge them.
Yeah, so peer review's fucked. We knew it was fucked.
Well, given that it's the only metric that you measure academics on right now, it's kind of incentivized to mess with it to make sure you don't fall out of good standings with universities that are losing federal funding like no other.
So here's so what else did you see? I was gonna ask a question, but fuck that. What else interesting is in Anita's thesis?
It's like even right in the beginning when you get to how she defines masculinity and femininity, it's really weird because as I read it, it still keeps feeling like she's tying it directly to your sex. Your sex defines your gender, which I guess I find it much different than because when I had to take a U.S. diversity course, and so I chose gender communications, and I like the model that I was given. It's you are born with your sex, male, female, or other, and you enact your gender whether you're more caring or more aggressive. And the way she classifies it is even if you're a female masculine person, that's bad. You need to be female feminine in order for it to be okay. And I find it really weird how that's would be kind of I don't really, I guess, agree with the way of thinking of it like that.
Was that where she did the 4 quarters of positive and negative male traits and female traits?
Well, it even starts earlier than her thesis on page 22, where she actually just straight up lists the gender-specific values and cites it from, I guess it's a combination of 3 sources, because she lists multiple different papers and years to how she came up with this.
Now, if I remember correctly, because I haven't read that in at least over a month, everything she is advocating for in her thesis paper, as far as the proper example of a female character, is literally the tropes she's fighting against right now in her YouTube videos. I mean, she advocated for it.
Yes.
She's fighting
Yeah.
against the exact same thing she advocated for.
Yeah, exactly, because she says that it is not okay to have the masculine characters such as Sarah Connor, Zoe Washburn from Firefly, Buffy Summers. It's not okay to have these characters because they are masculine female characters. Yeah, she's basically advocating against what she's talking about now.
Well, she's a hypocrite. I don't know what other better way to say it, right? I mean, she wrote a thesis. I mean, and again, you don't have to believe what you write in your thesis, right?
Well, I don't think she's necessarily a hypocrite, or is just that she didn't use an actual objective methodology. She didn't come down with a list, a way to actually define and categorize things and, put them on either a spectrum or a grid to say they are this much of these different things based on these different criteria. She just made some pseudo-objective, more or less subjective lists, went, well, everything that I look at can be matched to these, so I guess we'll just go with it. It was more or less, she knew what she wanted to find. I mean, she just had confirmation bias. She knows what she's looking for, and so she'll find it.
Well, yeah, so what she didn't do is she didn't really do a proper thesis. Now, I'm not an academic, but if I understand a thesis correctly, it's you come up with a theory you have, right? And then you research it and you try and prove or disprove your theory. Your thesis is the proving or the disproving of that theory. It seems like she went in trying to prove a theory, and she was going to prove that theory regardless. There was no option to disprove it.
That's partially the problem with academics, is that if you publish a paper disproving something you stated, it's not good. The academic papers want to see you confirming what you thought, because the idea that you thought something and it was wrong doesn't hold up as well. So people will make shoddy and quick papers to prove something that they already know is incorrect. I'm going to, go ahead and say that, nothing will fall up. And I can prove that nothing will fall up. It's pretty easy to prove that. So it wasn't like trying to prove that gravity works, it's trying to prove that nothing falls up. And one sounds better than the other when you look at it from trying to rate academic.
You're serious about that? So disproving your own theory is considered bad?
Yes.
Is that true across all of STEM? Because, I mean, I look at people like Hawkins. Disproves shit he says all the time. He was I believe, I may have the people reversed, but I believe Hawkins in no way, shape, or form believed black holes could exist or could ever exist. It was impossible. And then he proved they existed, which disproved what he believed. And he wasn't laughed at. He wasn't told he was bad. He was heralded as a fucking genius.
Yeah, but he's an outlier on that. That's, like saying, Total Biscuit, who's taking a stance of, I won't do any review copy that has a date post its an embargo date post its release. He can do that and get away with it because it's fine. He's well known. His reputation won't be affected. This is more along the lines for the people that are on kind of the bottom end, only publishing once every few years, that are kind of more incentivized to do that to keep their publishing rate up, to keep in good standings with their university.
That's so disheartening, because the whole point of science is to disprove, not to prove, at least in my opinion, right? Science is really extra proving yourself and other people.
Mine's kind of disprove everything, and once everything else has been disproven, then you have the truth.
Exactly. You disprove until you can't disprove it anymore, and then there's your truth.
Actually, I just saw Axis has a very good question in the chat. Is that how professors keep their job? Don't they have to submit papers every year or something?
Well, yeah, that would be how they would keep their job then, by claiming something they know to be false and then proving it's false, right?
Yeah, they have to keep up. Well, they have to do whatever it takes. I mean, it can vary from bringing in X amount of funding to getting X amount of grants to the school to a publishing rate to whatever it takes to go from that associate professor to that tenured status. And then once you're at that tenured status, you really got to mess up.
Well, you basically do what you want. I mean, you've got to you got to do like Jerry Sandusky shit to like lose your tenure. And not that he was tenured, but I mean, you got to be at that level to lose your tenure. You know what I mean? Once you're tenured, you're pretty much set for life. So then in chat they say it's a circle of confirmation of their own shit. Well, yeah, one person writes an article, and that article is used as proof, at least with Digra, right? That one Digra paper is used in hundreds of other research papers as just a way of legitimizing their message, right?
And not only that, there was the paper that Sargon found that was cited in a bunch of the Gamers Are Dead articles.
Yep.
And what makes it problematic in Digra especially, and this new, like I said, this kind of new social justice degree, gender studies thing, is that unlike most other fields, I mean, philosophy, theater, English, soft to hard sciences, they have existed for hundreds of years, and they have hundreds of years worth of papers that they can go on. This idea of gender studies and social justice studies is relatively new, meaning they actually don't have a basis of this massive amount of articles that they can pull from. They can only pull from each other over a really, really short time when you think about it. 20 years? That's it?
I mean, think about the hard fight that sociology and its associated studies have had to try to get credit as a scientific study.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but if you look at women's studies or gender studies or, not cultural studies, but racial studies or anything like that, they don't even follow the same rules as other social sciences do. I mean, you look at established social science like anthropology, where you're studying historical cultures. There are established rules that you have to go along with to be able to do a proper job, and they follow none of those rules in these new, hippie fucking degrees that you can't even use in the real world.
Yeah, my women's studies degree should mean something. Well, the rest of us have found a useful niche.
Actually, I have an interesting question. Does anyone know, so in STEM fields, or at least at the state school I went to, we had something called Abbott. If I can try to remember exactly what that stood for, but basically it's an accreditation board of engineering and technology. They would come around every 5 years and evaluate every single engineering on its own. And then they would say you are Abbott accredited, which meant that they recognized on, I believe it's a federal level, that you are an accredited engineering institution. So, if someone wanted to go to a school, you'd want to make sure that their engineering program was Abbott accredited, because you know that across all the different schools it at least met these minimum requirements. Do many of the social sciences have a similar program?
I doubt.
Political science does. We have APSA accreditation.
Yep. But let me look that up. I don't know if the social sciences do.
Yes, there is.
We get, I know for political science specifically, we get, from the APSA, we have the SACS accreditation.
So there's accreditation agency in health and social sciences, but that's out of Germany. So when I look at, hold on. So the social sciences, at least West Texas A&M, their accreditation for social sciences is just through the typical accreditation board, the state accreditation board.
And here's, if I could pop my screen up because my university is actually on this one. Add region.
Hurry up.
I am. Mine is... Oh, come on, you motherfucker. There we are.
You are so So slow.
There we go. I have to fiddle around with it next split. Mine's actually on there. And
I
that's
can't read that.
I can't either. You would have to look at the YouTube chat where it's trimmed down.
Let me actually zoom in a little bit on this.
It's not that. It's just stupid fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're. Oh, there we go. We're a little bit closer. You're, I think, at probably 280p.
Yeah, mine's right there. Which is Gardner Webb University. It is accredited by SACS, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, which grants social sciences accreditation.
Interesting. So it looks like maybe. The answer is maybe they're accredited, or there's at least not a centralized board like AARP. It's not AARP, but I'm calling it AARP. Like that.
They're shooting in.
It seems to be more decentralized, regional accreditation.
Yeah, that's just that. Well, it's such a problem for the reason that we have now. A bunch of people studying their own papers, studying each other's papers, and just creating this. The worst thing that you can have is an actual academic echo chamber, because now everyone else is going to cite that and use it like some kind of belligerent fact. And when everyone says, what's the worst that can happen, I'm just going to cite anti-vaccine people. One paper from 1997 mounted against thousands of things that refuted. Even then, the 1997 paper was pulled back, and still, now, this year, we have a measles outbreak. Worse than it's been in the last 20 years.
I blame Jenny McCarthy for that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Well, so here's the problem with that. Well, no, here's the problem with that, is the typical study that I've seen was resulting, or surrounding the whole...
vaccines cause autism issue?
Yeah, vaccines cause autism, is they go to a kid who has autism, and they say, were you vaccinated? And they say yes. Well, there's my proof, right?
No, there is no study.
Fucking vaccinated.
Well, no. Bruce is right on this. There is no proof because the doctor that conducted that study got his license pulled and he got his PhD removed because he was using biased statistics and biased.
Yeah. That was the point I was making.
Yeah.
Anyways, that study in and of itself was fucked up. But they're pointing out in chat that you should watch the Thunderfoot video because they say the chart in Anita's thesis shows that men, women, people of color, etc., they die at pretty much the same rate. But her conclusion is women and people of color die more than men.
I say women and men don't die at the same rate, period. That's been shown for a long time.
Well, men would die way more than women anyways, just because, when in Call of Duty do you go shoot a woman?
Advanced Warfare now in the multiplayer.
Yeah, and Ghosts.
Yeah, but nobody on PC liked Ghost because Ghost was a fucking shit port.
He's written more rigorous. So Edwin says, Code, I've written more rigorous documents for undergraduate courses. So have I, and I'm not an academic.
Now I know that Pigeon's definitely asleep because every time I try to defend Ghosts, he just jumps on me.
Nope. So Pigeon fell asleep. That's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I survived. I actually woke up.
I know.
That's a fucking change in precedent right there.
Yay.
It's the first time ever.
No, it is late.
Yeah.
At 4:30 in the morning.
An interesting actual video. It's kind of long, and I would just recommend watching it at another time. It's by Malcolm Gladwell, and he's speaking to people at Google, basically saying that due to relative competition, it is more advantageous for you to go to a college where you would be paired up against slightly weaker people that you could excel against and be the best, rather than go to Harvard and try to excel against everyone and be, third place.
I mean, he's not wrong. Which is
No, he's not. And he just, the thing is, it not only comes with his opinion, but he actually comes with an overwhelming amount of facts, which is
God.
that we like.
The fucking Old Testament paper that I did 2 weeks ago now was cited better than Anita Sarkeesian's work.
Well, I mean, that's not really all that hard to cite, right? The Old Testament.
Well, no, because we had to quote biblical research and biblical critique documents and things like that.
Oh, well,
Shit.
fuck all that.
I remember I had to write a paper on cross-referencing the Old Testament and Greek mythology, so I just got high as fuck.
Oh, totally. No.
And I aced that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I stayed away. I am terrible at like history courses and trying to inhale and regurgitate all that information. You just give me 2 or 3 equations and I'll just run with it.
So, Patton, you had something to shill because it is getting late, so we're gonna have to start wrapping up here.
It looks like Serb dropped out already.
Yeah, for those of you that are still listening in chat, I've got a couple operations going on right now. Only one is ready for release. It's called Operation Enlightenment. I need everybody's help. I need the combined brain power of Gamergate. It's on Kotaku in action. If you're a follower of mine on Twitter, I tweeted it out. Basically, what I need people to do is find every instance that they can remember where the game journos, the game devs, or judges from like the IGF have said shitty, nasty, vitriolic things towards Gamergate. And I need to, get as many minds on this as possible because one person is never going to find everything. So I'm just trying to compile as big a book as possible in order to do something special for you guys.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Okay, so there's that. We have one more video to play before we wrap this up. Jerry's got to get it set up. This video is amazing.
Working on it now, boss.
He is so fucking slow.
Yeah,
Patton, what's your Twitter? I don't actually think I have you.
Actually, give me a second.
Oh, we've got the People of Gamergate picture for Sargon, and it looks amazing.
If you go to YouTube chat, I just put an I in YouTube chat. It's just at same name.
Alright, let's make sure to do this. Got it.
Oh, look, Serbs is back.
Yeah, my browser just crashed.
We're trying to get Jerry to play a video here, but he's just not. Put on Infinity. What the fuck's Infinity? Put it on Infinity, they'll start a dig. I don't know what Infinity is. Oh, Infinity Board. Yeah, you should post it on 8chan, full chan. They love doing that shit on full chan.
I have absolutely no idea how to use 8chan properly.
You are so old, Patton.
Dude, I'm in my 30s, okay? I am technologically fucking inept.
You're in your 30s? I thought you sounded like you were in your... I'm not going to say that, that would be just rude.
What were you going to say? No, I want to know now.
Okay, well, just judging by how deep your voice is, I expected, 50.
No, my voice is deep just because I got a big dick.
Oh, okay. Right.
Oh, there we go, there we go.
Oh, you're my new personal hero.
Big dick equals more oppressive power.
Damn straight it does.
Okay, everybody mute themselves so we can play this video.
Why do we have to mute ourselves?
Okay, so just don't talk, because it talks over the audio.
Okay.
Well, narratives control the world, is the thing. You understand, whoever controls the narrative controls what people think, so essentially they follow whoever controls the narrative. Now, I know that video game makers are currently controlling the narrative, but I have my own narratives within my own head, okay, that I want to be controlling the gamers myself with my own head. But I'm not smart enough to make games, so that's a problem. But I'm clever. And what I decided to come up with is to call these video game makers sexist. I know on its face it sounds a little silly that I'm a man calling other men sexist against me for not making my brain stories into video games. But what I did was I hired a woman to call them sexist for not making my narratives into video games. That's my plan. That's what I'm trying to do in order to control these gamers with my brain. Because it's a messed up society when a douchebag like me with rich parents can spend his parents' money by spending all day criticizing things that I don't like. That's a messed up system in of itself, and it needs to change, which is why I'm trying to transform the narrative into being more controlling over these people. I think it'll work.
That was satire for our full Macintosh friend.
Jesus, that was awesome.
I thought it was fucking brilliant. He's got to tell his brain stories.
Dude, I love that part. I lost it.
Gotta tell my brain stories.
The problem is I can still actually think that Macintosh would say something like that.
Oh, I so could.
Absolutely. Too. But good.
Who?
Sir.
What? I don't know what the fuck. I've watched that video a few times today, and it's just like, he almost sells it with his voice, but he doesn't look like Macintosh. Macintosh, in one of his recent videos, well, the most recent one I think Saigon used, he looks like he's eaten about 5 burgers.
He's a chubbier dude than his Twitter picture makes him look like.
Oh yeah, no, he takes pictures at. He's one of those. He's kind of like a MySpace whore. He takes pictures at angles to avoid the.
Oh God.
So he's catfishing us?
Yeah, kind
really?
of. Maybe.
Because seriously, that's a big. John McIntosh looks really skinny in his at Radical Bites Twitter feed picture. Oh my God, he's a big dude.
He's not that skinny. I mean, he's not huge.
But he's husky.
Yeah,
he's definitely husky.
He's definitely rocking the Sears husky section.
He looked quite sweaty in the video. He looked like he'd got a burger patty and just just washed his face with it before he went on camera.
Someone promised him a Big Mac once he finished his little spiel.
Yeah.
All I can think of right now is the South Park episode where they had the anti-smoking campaign, and the anti-smoking dude who just constantly just sitting there.
Oh, the Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
As you describe it, that's all I can picture when you're talking about a huskier gentleman who's sitting there pushing some agenda, eating hamburgers. That's all I can think of.
Is Rob Reiner dead?
No, he's still alive.
How?
I think. Hasn't had a heart attack yet. Must be all that not smoking.
Sweet Jesus.
I'm trying to see if I can find the original, the John McIntosh video, but I don't think I can. That's too bad.
Yeah, well.
I wonder if he enters his local McDonald's and they go, "Hey, it's the Big Mac."
I wonder. I think we've decided he does get pegged, right?
Oh yeah, he does. He loves pegging.
Because it reminds him of his place in the that women are greater than him and that the patriarchy is evil.
What?
I think, what? Oh yeah, it's an extreme sport, extreme pegging.
We've decided on this stream that John McIntosh likes to be pegged, and it reminds him of his place within the patriarchy, or really the matriarchy.
It's going to be on ESPN one day. Extreme pegging.
Wait.
Want to Google this?
Okay, the ironic part is...
What?
I'm waiting for him to finish it. He started.
Oh, go ahead, Bruce.
The ironic part of this is...
Do I even want to Google what this is? Like, I have no idea. What are you trying to talk about? Him climbing up like one of those walls with those weird-ass little wooden peg things? Like, that's... And I'm really confused.
Is it the candle-sniffing fuck fence go climb a wall of dicks picture?
No,
No,
he doesn't
no.
know what pegging means.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Thank God, because I didn't want to be the first one to admit I didn't know what the fuck it was.
Oh God.
Pegging means you're a dude
Sure, you're
taking,
not 50 years old, Patton.
pegging means as a dude you're taking it up the butt, but
Yeah.
you're still straight.
Oh. Okay, that makes.
But you still classify yourself as straight.
It's
Yeah.
typically when a woman puts on a strap-on and pegs her boyfriend or husband or sexual partner.
I thought everyone liked a finger in the ass.
No, this is not a finger. This is a strap-on.
Yeah, this is not prostate stimulation. This is full on ass fucking. This is all the way to Browntown. Fucking-
Jesus.
Anti-gamer. Nah, there it is. There's the slogan for the other side. Anti-gamer gate. Not prostate stimulation. Straight up ass fucking.
I want a bumper sticker with that. Seriously.
That's so awesome.
It's like it's like the fucking bumper sticker I saw last night on R. I'm going to hell for this. It said it was oh, what was it? It was my girlfriend's husband fights for your freedom.
Could she be done for stolen honor? Stolen valor, sorry.
Oh no, only if he no actually because she's not a soldier. I don't think.
But yeah, so now that you know what pegging means, we have decided John McIntosh likes to be pegged because it reminds him of his place in the matriarchy.
He is definitely extreme pegging's champion, world champion, 2014, I think.
You need to do pegging for favors. You so
Pegging for favors.
No, I got it.
Pegs for favors. Secrets, cover-ups, and anal sex. I see so much pegging. As the governor of Minnesota.
Oh boy. I was waiting for where you were going with that. I was hoping you were gonna work in straight for Browntown.
As the mayor of Browntown.
There we go.
God, and I have to have been born in the same state as that guy. Oh, God damn it.
Oh boy, yeah.
Thanks, San Francisco, for fucking up California.
It's okay, Oakland's there. If Oakland falls, we're all doomed.
That's true.
Or if Compton falls.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
Marco Antonio in the chat, Mac the Peg Master.
Yes.
I would love to drop the San Francisco coffee house, Apple Mac using fuckers just in the middle of Chicago one day. Seriously.
They die.
I know.
Chicago is a pretty liberal city, politically speaking. But dear God, you'll get shot if you walk down the wrong part of the block.
I imagine Chicago just as a war zone, basically.
Outer Chicago, not inner Chicago.
South Chicago is.
South Chicago is.
Oh, you're ruining my fantasy here of just basically an ongoing Battlefield server in real life.
Nah, just wait for Battlefield Hardline to drop. The next map I think is Chicago South Side.
No, it's Battlefield Zipline.
God.
Somebody asked if we believe that John McIntosh believes his own spaghetti.
Oh yeah, that guy is so smug. He sniffs and bobbles his own farts like they're his best ideas.
Is that gonna be the next attraction at State Fair? Spaghetti reading. It's like farm reading.
God.
This woman just dips into a bowl and brings up some pasta.
I've got. Hang on a second. I ruffle through my papers here. There he is. Jonathan McIntosh's smug levels are officially at the EPA is concerned. Let's just say.
Has the CDC been informed about this? Just that level of smugness.
He's so smug they tax it.
Yeah. He's actually one of the few people who pay the smug tax. The other person is... Matty Bryce. Who knew?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Matty Bryce, everything that you love I hate and will suffer as a consequence.
I'm a judge, so I'm going to make this statement about just how biased I am.
Didn't somebody like there was a classic tweet from some guy who like reviewed films or something? Or it was a panel on and it was just like, "You are disgusting. You should not be a judge, ever."
Yeah, he said he is an Oscar equivalent film kind of judge.
Yeah.
And he said even as a judge you would never make a statement like this even in jest.
I know the IGF like released a Twitter statement saying, and somebody else who was actually pretty neutral on the whole Gamergate thing, or actually wasn't even commenting on the whole Gamergate thing, just said, IGF, you might want to actually consider, your policies with regards to your judges, and the stuff that they say on Twitter. It probably doesn't serve your best interest to have them spouting shit, regardless if it's fucking, satire. It's she really got away with that.
Oh, some Code. This is your next game project from Edward Boyette in the chat. Someone with twine, free time, and the appropriate level of spurg should put together Shill Quest to Peganing.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. After my media critic goes alpha,
yeah.
I will make Shield Quest the Peganing.
Hell, I can make twine. I could make it on twine.
Just make it like one of those porn flash games.
Well, no, you got to do it in Twine, man. You got to use their tools. Twine, text-based HTML. That's the same thing copied over a million times.
7 lines out of Depression Quest were not from the base Twine programming.
That doesn't surprise me.
I think it was what someone said. It was 7 lines had been changed in Twine to get her game running.
So those were stolen from Wikipedia.
Pretty much.
So why didn't they just use like Python and Flash? It's the same thing, I guess.
Twine is literally so easy. A 3-year-old could do it. I'm not even kidding.
It's the coding equivalent of what?
There isn't one because you don't really code anything. You just put questions and answers in, basically.
Oh, so it's like the Lego Mindstorm program, like that I had when I was a kid, where when I wanted to make a control thing, like I would just drag and drop little pieces, like go forward 10 centimeters, and then look at your sensor, and it would create a branch, and it was just like drag and drop blocks into a thing to create a program.
It's even easier than that.
Yeah, it's even easier.
So basically, as I say, it's the coding equivalent of nothing, because
nothing has been that dumbed down or easy.
It's essentially like a workflow engine. It's like building a flowchart.
It's like buying a set of Legos. To continue with this, it's like buying a set of Legos. You pulling it out of the box, and they're already pre-built like a house, and you just change the color of the windows.
Oh dear God!
Wow.
There it is, Edwin Boyette. It's the equivalent of coding. It's the coding equivalent of Mad Libs.
I'd like to see Macintosh in some kind of rap battle. By the way,
somebody get in contact with ERB of history, and let's see if we can get that going.
No. Actually, with the proper ghetto, rap battle.
No, I want to see JMac rap battle with Susan B. Anthony.
Oh God.
Just to bring in the epic rap battles of history, because they did Bill Nye versus Sir Isaac Newton. Why not Jonathan McIntosh and Susan B. Anthony?
No, Jonathan McIntosh and Martin Luther King.
Ooh. That'd be brilliant.
Oh.
Well, because they already did Martin Luther King and Gandhi, and they did two for the women one. They did Joan of Arc and Miley Cyrus.
What about Malcolm X versus Jonathan McIntosh?
No. You guys, you're too late. You're going too light on the oppression. We need McIntosh versus Frederick Douglass.
Dred Scott.
Oh God.
Oh God. It's just wrong.
It's wrong, but.
By the way, I posted the link to Twine in the Hangout chat.
I can't even be bothered. I'm in bed.
What the hell?
I'm making a penis game.
Somebody just looked at Twine.
Dick Quest.
I just looked at Twine. And actually, my friend did when he taught himself to make Flash, made a game where a penis shot jizz at a picture of one of the annoying people that lived on my floor when I was a sophomore.
Hey, you fucking soggy-kneed bastard.
That's hilarious, though.
Okay, but this is actually just... This looks like something you would make when you were trying to design... Like, if this is like something you use as a design tool to make a workflow of how your project's going to go. We got to get to here, and then this means we got to do these things, and here are these check marks.
It's a flowchart.
This can't be an actual... Bullshit. There's no way you can actually create a game from that.
This is what Depression Quest was made on. We're not even joking.
No, stop it.
I mean, just we should. Oh God! Epic rap battle: Helen Keller versus Brianna Wu.
Dear God. Poor Helen Keller.
Or Helen Keller. I would pay for that. I would.
Oh no, I'd like to see Anne Frank versus Brianna Wu.
That one wouldn't be bad. I'm sorry, but Helen Keller would be better.
I want to see the Dorito Pope versus the actual Pope.
No,
That'd be good.
After looking at this, I would like to actually start a YouTube, like a formal film YouTube series like Epic Rap Battles, except call it the Oppression Olympics, and you have someone like Anne Frank versus Brianna Wu.
Oh, we should do that. We should do a segment on Campfire Tales for the Oppression Olympics.
I think we should still write the script for Gamergate the movie.
We should do that too. We should make it a movie, as long as it's filled with sexist, misogynist piss babies.
And Axis 5 had to bring in fruit again.
In the first scene, it cuts over like a Transylvanian castle, and you just see Zoe Quinn planning this, with a flowchart on Twine.
In a line of guys out the door, just to really.
Just in a castle made out of burgers and fries.
No. The line of guys actually extends into a Five Guys burgers and fries.
Yes.
And she's just like, my semen sacks need replenishing. And five of these guys. They're just a line of disheveled journalists and indie games.
No, stop! What the fuck is a semen sack?
What?
I don't know. Ask more. I don't know.
Basically, Zoe Quinn harvests semen.
Just ask Morgan from Darkstalkers.
I need to know what a semen sack is. What the fuck is a semen sack?
Well, she has what she has biologically inside her is like these receptacles for semen. And actually often she sucks all the semen out of her victim, and it's actually semen that replaces her blood.
I don't know what's more. I don't know what's more troubling: the image you're putting in my head, or the fact that you have thought this out so well.
She doesn't have blood in her body; it's semen.
So it's just she has a semen circulatory system instead of a normal one.
Yeah.
See, and I can't for the life of me figure out why these people hate us. I don't.
I'm sitting here going, like, today I've been thinking, well, we have to remember, literally who gives a shit about Wu or Quinn, and then you say shit like this, it's like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna laugh.
Oh, no, it's Zoe Quinn. I have a personal problem with somebody that has no talent, basically. And has got nowhere via merit, basically milking the system for all it's worth.
Yeah, but the milk runs out quick, and she'll shrivel up in the next 3 years and basically be completely out of money. It won't last. It's short term, and who gives it?
It is.
She'll find another trust fund, kid, basically.
Well, that's true. She's got Lifshitz whose daddy sells weapons to the Israeli army. But anyways,
good going.
Yeah, but
be able to laugh, right? So I understand the whole. They're not.
Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Edwin Boyette in the chat has been brilliant. It's like Intel Inside, but different.
I'm gonna load the chat up.
We gotta be able to laugh. They're not important, but anybody in my mind, anybody who's worth a damn could laugh at themselves, right? Like, if somebody wanted to make fun of my sex life and tell me I had semen sacs, that's pretty fucking funny. I don't care.
You're a guy. Technically, you kind of do.
I guess you're right. I do have 2 semen sacs.
Yeah, the back of the
Okay.
I need to laugh at this because if I didn't, I'd just cry.
And to
I
show.
just think if you want to laugh at something, this whole Jordy thing, I mean, I have been laughing my ass off, and to top it off, like, this isn't just the first one he's had. He had another article, and it was, where did that go? Oh, yeah. To My Someday Daughter, written by Jordy Tate. Hi, kiddo. This is your father. You haven't been born yet. You haven't even been conceived yet. But Daddy is writing you a letter anyways to apologize and let you know that he loves you and it's going to be all right. I want you to keep your head up no matter how much the going on of the world sometimes hangs about your shoulders. I'm sorry, despite being 50% of the world's population is female, that only 1% owns only 1% of the world's property. I'm sorry that only 28% of businesses in the United States are owned by women, and I'm sorry that if, God forbid, you have to walk up to a police officer and report that you've been sexually assaulted, you'll very likely to be treated with skepticism and contempt. I apologize in advance for the way people will treat you when you're accomplishing things, when your success is ignored. Those who will say you, God damn it, this guy can't write for shit. When you succeed, ignore those who say you did so not because you were worthwhile or talented, but because you were a woman. And don't listen to what Mr. Old Gary Kasparov says. It's not like he's well respected by gamers or anything. And this is written by the same guy who wrote that absolutely nutty.
The fuck is wrong? So here's the thing: everybody who screams shit like that are not setting children up on the right foot for equality. So that's a letter. That's what he would imagine he would tell his daughter if he had a daughter, and that is not setting his daughter up for equality, right? I tell you what, I have a daughter. And those are not things I tell my daughter. I would tell my daughter, you're better than every fucking guy out there. And I tell my son, you're better than every fucking woman out there. Because that's what you do. She's better than everybody and he's better. You know what I mean? Like, you don't tell her, you're shit. I'm sorry, hon, you're shit. Can't help you there. I'm sorry, you're shit.
Does Jordy Tate actually have a kid?
No.
No. Like I said, it was okay, he's like, this is your father. You haven't been born yet. You haven't even been conceived yet.
So basically, he's got to try to find somebody to fuck him at this point.
No, this was written, by the way, in 2011, and this is longer than his Facebook post.
Hey, bit of breaking news here. You know that rant by Jordy Tate saying that we should all be fucking, molecularly discombobulated and, whatever, fucking gassed. I can't even remember what he wanted to do.
It was a Holocaust joke, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, basically that comment was liked by Kate Gary, who is a senior copywriter at Blizzard Entertainment.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, Blizzard's not getting my dollars for Hearthstone then.
Yeah. But I like Hearthstone.
It's confirmed again by somebody else.
Well, then this would be a good time to tweet right at Blizzard. Why are you guys supporting hate?
Well, that's what Chris M is doing.
So,
get thousands of people to do that.
Yeah, wow, yeah, this is, how many people play World of Warcraft?
7 million?
Yeah, 7 million people saying we're threatening to pull our accounts because of this is going to fucking set off a firestorm.
Oh, yeah.
No one in Warcraft is gonna shut down their account.
Yeah.
I would. I have a Warcraft account. I'd shut it down. I won't because it's only one person. I mean... And people are allowed to have dissenting opinions, right?
Now, is that her official account for Blizzard, or is that just her personal account?
Well, her account says senior editor or some shit like that at Blizzard. So it's linked to her personal account.
It might be a different... Apparently it might be a different Kate Gary. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean... even.
Oh, wait. No, It might. Something's not confirmed. Where is it?
Yeah, that's why I haven't said anything. I was going to say I would really want to see some more hard proof. I mean, even then, I can see a lot of people like reading one or two paragraphs and then just going straight to the bottom and writing a comment. Like that was just unbelievable amount of text to read.
Actually, I have Jordy Tate's post here.
Here's the image.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they're going right at Mike Morhaime right now.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I'm reading the tweet right now. Rape jokes by Blizzard CS employees are okay, right, Mike Morhaime? Yeah, they're going right after the fucking CEO with this.
Here's the thing that Jordy Tate actually posted. Yeah, really noble of you to complain about me vocally wishing a lot of you had been at Bergen-Belsen instead of the chosen people. At least Gamergate would have deserved every molecule of that hydrogen cyanide. You probably think I have a lot of chutzpah at saying that. But read my explanation again. Look at what women have been through for 100 centuries. Oi fucking Gewalt. He's basically saying the people that support Gamergate should have been there instead of the Jews because we deserve the gas more.
Oh no, he says everyone should be melted down into gold. Like we read this on stream and it took like half an hour so we can stop laughing, but it's like he compares like, oh yeah, only 6 million Jews died and 50 billion women have suffered in 11,970 years. A fucking bullshit, as described above.
Yeah.
Have you got the original post there with the likes? Because
yep. Here we go.
Put that link in the. Okay. So this will. I want to see if this is at. Can you actually go to the actual article because I want to see the likes on it.
Let's see if it'll let me. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I think you have to be friends with Jordy Tate on Facebook in order to be able to see this. So this was an archive to make sure that nothing got edited later, even though it was already edited when he posted it.
So here's something amazing. I'm reading Encyclopedia Dramatica, and they've got an expanded version of his. Well, it's not so much an expanded version, but there's a response from Evan Irwin, who apparently works at Star City Games. Hey Jordy, just FYI, Star City Games has deleted all author pages as we now use a tagging system. At least the author pages I believe you're looking for with bio plus a list of links. The current new system has been in place for a while. Using date range and controls, you can find your previous work. Because he started the rant as, hey, fuck you, Star City Games.
Yeah, actually, I looked into that. We were laughing about it because basically they dropped their kind of search by criteria article author title and they just went to a straight tagging system. And anything that they couldn't tag from basically anything that was older than 2 years just got auto-tagged legacy. And you just have to manually enter a tag just like anyone who's ever done a document migration.
So
yeah, it's confirmed this woman is the same one that likes that post, who is senior editor at Blizzard Entertainment.
Okay, then rightfully so, tweeting at Mike Cernovich, or not Mike Cernovich, but Morhaime. God, there's so many fucking Mikes in this movement.
So I don't have a problem with this per se. I mean, so I don't have a problem only because he was saying all Gamergaters should like be burned and saying we should, basically saying the Holocaust would be okay if it happened to gamers, right? That's fucking disgusting. But we need to be able to rein back just because somebody says Gamergate is a hate mob. We need to stop sea lining companies over something innocuous like that, right? Like, people are allowed to have dissenting opinions even if we don't like it.
Yeah, but to say something as absolutely vitriolic as that, though.
I agree with.
And then support it, it's kind of like you're giving your official fucking, I agree to this sentiment. And this is a person that's directly linked, with Blizzard. Yeah, you can have your opinion, you can do whatever the fuck you want, but basically to support something like that and then be involved in something that's so close to the core of it, wouldn't it have been wise not to fucking post that? Because that obviously means that, someone in Blizzard isn't thinking objectively, about the situation. He's not thinking about customers.
Also, David Auerbach has been attacked by a Tark at Wikipedia on Twitter. I can pull the tweet back up here in just a moment. I just closed it out.
So another tweet I'm seeing, as you find that tweet, another tweet I'm seeing on Encyclopedia Dramatica from Brianna, literally Woo. I grew up in Mississippi, thinking about making a video about how to field strip a Glock to further add to the Gamergate nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah, I already went after her for that. I was pissed off that she's from Mississippi and she'd buy a fucking Glock.
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm not much of a firearms person, but a close friend of mine is, and out of the things that I've absorbed being around him, that's one of them.
And so another one from John McIntosh. These clowns honestly and sincerely believe that feminist media criticism and academic games analysis are lucrative endeavors. It's asinine. Yeah, I mean, Anita's only getting $3,000 to $5,000 per conference or per speaking engagement, but sure, asinine, not ludicrous at all.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, what's 160 grand up front? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Not lucrative at all.
Yeah.
Of course, when you have some fucking $800,000 San Francisco apartment, it probably isn't a lot of money.
I'm more interested in this Polygon movie people have been talking about.
What, the one that cost so much that they got given so much?
Yeah, the one where Microsoft gave Polygon $750,000 to make a movie about Polygon, and it only cost them $75,000.
Well, that doesn't shock me.
Oh, did you find that tweet, or should we start wrapping it up?
Let's start wrapping it up. It's 5 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah, and he dropped off the stream, so whatever.
Who dropped off?
What's his face? Jerry.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, I'm just seeing. Apparently, Gamergate is responsible for 12,000 years of female suffering.
Oh,
that's
really?
true.
Yeah.
Even though we've only been around for 3 months, I'd say that's perfectly true. We actually managed to jump up in numbers to 31 as well tonight. Oh, by the way, I did try and get Liz F on, but no response, which was a bit annoying. So I guess we're not popular enough for that. There's still actually, there's one last thing I'd like to close on. That Operation Skynet, guys, I was saying that from the fucking start. Why did we need an operation for people to fucking realize that we need to follow each other to fucking continue the discourse? I still find that quite amusing. You know, think with your own fucking heads, and you know, actually start following each other if you actually want to. You know, instead of needing operations to prompt you, jeez, or start doing things independently. You know, we're supposed to be a collective, not just like you're not supposed to be directed by people. So yeah, that's all I want to say.
Bruce, do you want to do any shilling?
I guess not particularly. I'm not. Yeah, no.
Okay. What am I seeing here? Patton?
Yeah, what?
What do you want to shill? We're wrapping up.
No, I already did. I'm chilled out.
Shill it again, motherfucker. Shill it again.
Okay. For those of you guys out there, I'm running a bunch of different operations. Right now, Operation Establishment. I need you guys to get me every nasty thing any game journal, game dev, or IGF judge has ever said about Gamergate. Friend me on Twitter or follow me, whatever the hell it is. You can see the link to the Kotaku in Action post. Just put it in that Kotaku in Action post, and I'll get everything together. I'm going to have something really nice prepared for you guys.
Awesome.
As well, Patton, you should definitely join in our competition as well.
Join in your what? I didn't hear that.
The competition that we announced on Sunday.
Oh yes. Serbs, do this spiel about the competition again.
Well, basically what we're trying to do is, and Jerry will tweet it out again, as I'm sure Code will as well. We're trying to basically run a fictional what happens if these key figures in Gamergate and anti-Gamergate had dating profiles on OkCupid, based on, just what we've seen of them over the last 3 months. What would they fill them in like? Obviously not to fill out a profile on their behalf, but to just come up with a satire, sort of few comedy lines basically that they'd like to, read out in that kind of format. And there is a $25 prize in Steam. A Steam voucher, and what was the other one as well?
Riot points.
Yeah, Riot
It's
points.
Steam or Riot points.
Yeah. So get involved with that. I think we'll be retweeting it again. We haven't had any responses as of yet, which is a shame because we had quite a few videos on Sunday and Wednesday. So just pull your fingers out your asses, guys. It will take about like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
If you come in last place, Sir will peg you.
Yeah, that's true.
Totally. That's a bonus right there. That's actually actually what happens if you do Anthony Birch. You get to peg him.
Yeah, they have to pay for flights and accommodations, and also the lube.
You don't have to do all of them, by the way. You don't have to do every single person on the list. You can only do one if you want.
I dumped the link in chat a little while ago. I'll dump it to these guys so they can actually post it in there again to the twit longer I made in relation to it. Just let me find it here in a second.
Is that what we're waiting for?
Yeah, pretty much. I got because I know where it is on Twitter. I just got to find it because it's a twit longer I made with all the rules and stuff.
Well, there's not really many rules.
Yeah, just don't do a real one.
Sorry, don't actually post a dating profile on their behalf on some website.
Yeah.
Outside of that, pretty much everything is fair game. I mean, Serb's already said literally who has come.
Yeah, that's apparently official. Jerry, stop entering and leaving this goddamn fucking hangout. You're so unprofessional.
It's actually my computer doing that.
Actually, it's all spaghetti tonight anyway.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Well, my connection's been nothing but fucking spaghetti tonight. It's just, I don't know what it is because it's not my modem this time because the connection's not dropping. It's just it's just Hangouts that's dropping.
Have you checked to see how consistent your uplink is and if you're getting packet drops?
I haven't checked that yet. I'll probably check after this to see if that's what's going on.
Yeah, my Hangout just dropped, so it's probably not him. It's probably Google. But anyways, it's now 12:15, 5:15.
I dropped the link in the Hangout chat, so you get in there for the contest rules.
But aside from that, that is the end.
Yeah. That is the end of this campfire. I just lost my dog, so there she is. We will be back on Sunday.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. Thanks for coming, chat. Did that, chat. Thanks for coming, chat. And we will.
All our Twitter handles and stuff are in the description below. Also, links to the link to all the previous Campfire Tales we have are down there as well.
Yes, good call. And then thanks, guys, for coming, and chat. Thanks for joining us. We will be back on Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, as usual. See you guys.